Our completely unsuspecting hero finds himself in a queue very long, very quiet. Everyone in identical sterile white coats is walking somewhere who knows where. He remembers how Senpai said there might be life after death. But if that were true, he wouldn't be seeing this gloomy, endless procession. The scene is eerily familiar, the last crossing over the Sanzu River after he was rudely crushed by a truck. He turns to the boy next to him, a faceless figure in the crowd, just to confirm the absurdity of it all. As expected, the other just nods. Exactly so. Our hero isn't even angry. Never thought I'd die so young, he mumbles, and a strange calm washes over him. He had always been a loner and kept to himself. Besides, his home life was like a chaotic mare of screaming shadows and outstretched hands. He never felt comfortable in the family, so this is almost a relief. That's when he notices a commotion ahead. Seriously. Even in the damn afterlife there are bullies, a few thugs are beating up some poor boy. Something ignites inside our hero. He's already dead. What's the worst that could happen? For the first time in his life, he decides to do something about it. He lunges forward and with a running start punches the main bully right in the jaw. He doesn't stop there. With a wild kick, he knocks him down. He throws that bully to the ground. The boy falls to the ground, completely bewildered. "Vef, are you dying?" But our boy doesn't listen. He lowers his foot and a pleasant crunch sounds. The trash is cleared and he helps the rescued boy up. "Hey, are you okay?" The boy is stunned but grateful. "Thank you very much. My name is Hikaru." It turns out Hikaru is only 15, and the one he saved, clearly older, looks stunned. 15 years old. What's wrong with me? Was I really just saved by someone 3 years younger than me? But he is not offended by the loss. He pulls out a heavy pouch. "But it's okay, I will give it to you instead." Our hero is confused. He has seen others with such pouches, but he has none. But he insists anyway. "It's the least I can do." I take the bag and that guy waves and disappears into the crowd. "And you are very kind," a smooth voice cut through the silence. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a blonde-haired guy in a flawless suit appears, which does not fit this place at all. "Listen to me for a minute." Our guy is sincerely confused, a newcomer not at all in that standard otherworldly robe. Why is he dressed so differently from us? This thought flashed through his mind. The blonde did not hesitate and said, "I want you to come into my world and live in my house." While our hero has not yet managed to grasp this crazy pickup line, the man threw off his coat and a terrible, deadly wound blossomed on his torso. "I will die soon," he says calmly. Our guy's brain shorts out. Wait, you're dying? Isn't this the otherworld? We are both already dead," and the blonde explains. He used a special ability called World Crossing, and this is the limit of its power. He gets so close to our hero that his eyes plead. "So please, please, come into my world and fulfill my wish." And suddenly he drops a bomb, the last decisive advertising move. "And if you agree," his voice will thunder with unearthly power, "you can be born again. Rebirth, a second chance." Our hero is shocked. The blonde, feeling that he already has him on the hook, lays out the condition. "Live as you wish, just fulfill my one request." He needs a service, and since he is about to die any moment, there are no consequences for him. Our guy asks the million-dollar question, "How much does it cost?" The blonde's smile is completely suspicious. "Nothing bad will happen to you, trust me." When literally no other options remained, the hero finally gives in. "Fine, then I will go into your world and listen to what you have to say." The blonde introduces himself, Roland Nuizarok. And while he speaks, a huge, shining, magical circle explodes beneath their feet. "And I will give you my body." At first a dazzling light, then warmth, and he feels his hands and feet again. His eyes tremulously opened. He stumbled forward. His new body seemed foreign, but at the same time strangely familiar. He catches his reflection in the mirror and he gasps. He has returned. He really truly has returned. But the euphoria does not last long. A stream of information, Holon's memories, overwhelms his mind and causes a tearing headache. The memories confirm it, all of this is real. The deal was simple: to kill a man. And the fine print is merciless. If it doesn't manage to kill someone within an hour, its soul will be completely destroyed. And suddenly a spectral image of Roland appears beside him. Our clicks, his eyes burning with rage. "Just as I thought, you deceived me." Roland has the audacity to look offended. "I wasn't lying to you." Our main hero will not tolerate this. "So tell me, what's wrong with you and why do you want me to kill a person?" Roland's face darkens. The target is Count Morks, a corrupt nobleman who killed his parents. Roland tried to take revenge himself but suffered a crushing defeat. In a desperate attempt, he resorted to the cursed stone that sucks souls to defeat the Count. But it backfired. Now his own soul is fading and slowly disappearing into nothingness. In the air hangs a heavy ultimatum. Kill the Count within an hour, otherwise both souls will be erased from existence forever. It's a cruel offer, but he has no other choice. The weight of the choice suffocates him. Whatever he does, he only has an hour left. He is cornered. Summoning determination, he turns back to Roland. "All right, I'll help you with this, in exchange for my life." Roland nods. "Then I will give you this gift, sharpen my senses." Our hero is confused, but suddenly a holographic screen materializes right in front of his face. This is the soulboard. His name Hikaru is written right at the top. Age 15, rank 0 points 15. What is this even? The spirit of Roland begins to fade. I am a bit low on energy while I am still here. I will tell you everything that needs to be done. The pressure is mounting. 5 minutes have already burned. 55 minutes remain. He needs to calm down and figure things out. He touches the screen and a prompt appears. Unlock soulboard. This will cost 1 unit of energy. He agrees. Something clicked instantly in his head. This is a skill system. Like in a video game, he can spend points to become stronger. His goal is clear: to kill the Count. To do this, he needs exactly those tools. He swiped across the screen and suddenly realized there are several tabs, even more hidden skills. He flips through them, 7 different screens in total, each with its own set of abilities. I knew this looked like one of those PC tablets, he muttered to himself. 49 minutes left. There is no time to waste exploring everything. He must quickly choose skills and move on. He glanced over agility, strength, and magic. Magic seems complicated, and he is not sure if this body can even use it. Strength could be useful, but not for a stealth mission. And suddenly he sees it: perfect mastery, stealth. He presses the unlock button, spending 1 point. Then he threw the remaining points into useful skills: life detection, magical power, and perception, and first maxed out perception. As soon as he does this, a hidden skill grows from him. Killing is a skill that controls the fate of the attack and makes it deadly. Just what I need now, he thinks, and a stern determination freezes on his face. He invests 3 points, levels it up to the maximum. Now he can definitely kill his target. And then an even more epic skill opens: sniper. He has no points left. The timer shows 25 minutes time to act. He takes a deep breath and activates invisibility mode. A strange sensation washes over him. His body becomes transparent. He waves his hands in front of his face, barely seeing them. So it works. He rushes down the corridor. Roland's memories lead him to the council meeting place in the city. He simply passes by an employee at a desk, and the man doesn't even blink. This ability is insanely cool. He runs out into the pouring rain, clutching the key from Roland's memory in his hand. Only 25 minutes remained, and the storm raged around him. He finds the mansion intact, but the back door is locked tight. There is no choice left. He will have to go through the front door. But he slips inside right between 2 chattering guards who notice absolutely nothing. This stealth skill simply turns the whole game upside down. He ducked behind the column while more guards passed by, then dashed up the stairs, but he was soaked from the rain and left a puddle on the floor. One of the guards notices it and shouts, "Hey, look, someone wet the floor." The heart of our hero wildly pounds in his chest, while the other guard simply snorts disdainfully as if to say, "It's because of the rain outside, probably those same people from the Alchemists Guild." The crisis was averted. He continued walking invisibly like a ghost, gliding through the corridors. 15 minutes left. The tension suffocates, not letting me breathe. He notices the light seeping from under the only door at the end of the corridor. He hears a voice from inside. That Baron is a complete idiot. Here he is, I found him. The burden of his mission falls upon him. He is about to kill a person. He stands in front of the door, his hand hovering over the handle, and the rain is wildly drumming on the windows outside. He took a trembling breath and pushed the door. In his head there is a whirlwind of doubts and panicked assurances. Everything will be fine, everything will get better, I will kill, we will survive, right? The flash of his own death, a truck, the impact reminds him how fragile life is. People die so easily. Only 10 minutes left, he must do this to survive. The door creaks open. The Count, a burly man with luxurious mustaches, raised his gaze from his desk. Oh. He scans the empty doorway with his eyes, shrugs, and decides it is just his imagination. I just need to relax and keep reading, he mutters, smiling contentedly. The annoying Zeresh family has finally left. You are wrong, Hikaru cuts through the silence, appearing behind the desk. The Count nearly jumped out of his skin. Who the hell are you? The ghost of Roland appears with a predatory smile. The Count exclaims confusedly, what the hell is Roland doing here? Are you crazy? And Roland simply says, I am Roland Nui Zeresh. And then Hikaru, pointing with the dagger that Roland left, pronounced the final verdict. I will kill you. The spirit of Roland warns him, and I do not want your memories to be stained by murder. But the Count is not some helpless old man. He dodges the first lunge with incredible speed and rushes to the drawer of his desk. He does not give up without a fight. But do not underestimate him, advises Roland. Hikaru grits his teeth, and do not underestimate me either. I am ready to take this on. The Count, realizing he is powerless, rushed to the door and, screaming in terror, ran away. But Hikaru is faster. He lunged forward and grabbed the old man's ankle in a vice grip, and pushed him so that he fell to the floor with a loud crash. Before the Count could recover, Hikaru was already on him, plunging the dagger all the way in. Blood splattered on the immaculate floor. It's over, Hikaru stands, gasping, adrenaline slowly receding, leaving him empty. He looks at his trembling hands. Damn, can't believe you really killed him. Roland's voice echoes nearby. Hikaru fiercely looks at the spirit. Did you plan to do this yourself from the very beginning, didn't you? Roland smiles slyly. Yes, I did. I thought it would be better for you, but now we are both accomplices, right? He laughs. The dark truth has finally surfaced. Roland finished the revenge and his spirit begins to shine. Thank you, this body is now yours. As he fades, Hikaru finally says his name. My name is Hikaru. Roland's voice is a whisper in the wind. Thank you, Hikaru, and know that I will always pray for you. So a bright future awaits you. He is gone. The silence in the room was deafening. Oh no, Hikaru whispered as the full weight of his actions overwhelmed him. He really did it, he killed a person. Just as panic begins to take over, a figure appears at the door. A young woman stands with striking silver hair, her face unreadable. Hikaru froze. Her beauty mesmerized him, but he was terribly afraid of being caught. She breaks the silence. Bells ring. It means the knights are coming. And indeed, a dull rumble of armored boots thundered down the corridor. He is trapped. Now even his skill at hiding will not save him. Suddenly, the girl points to the balcony. There hangs a rope ladder from which one can descend. He is puzzled. Why should she help him at all? After all, she is a complete stranger. But the knights are approaching, so he has no time to ponder this. He rushes away. I'm leaving, all right. She shouts after him, just go. He jumps over the railing just as the guard bursts into the room and stumbles upon the count's body. He is dead, the guard shouts. Hikaru climbs down the rope ladder from another place. Everyone to the second floor, don't let him escape. But the silver-haired girl just stands calmly watching him flee into the night. He runs until his lungs burn and finally collapses in the midst of the solemn silence of the cemetery. He is exhausted, the body drained, the soul empty. The whole night is like a feverish dream, but the mysterious girl, why did she let him go? In this strange new world, the only thing that feels real is the unbearable weight of what he has done. Several days have passed since our unsuspecting hero suddenly found himself in this new world. He has already taken his first step, becoming an adventurer. The plan is simple: earn a living and, most importantly, get a guild membership card to blend in with the crowd. His first mission is ridiculously simple: gather some poisonous plants. He walks slowly through the forest, lost in his thoughts, when suddenly he notices one of the flowers. But just at the moment when he whispers to himself that the most important part of the mission is to stay alert, a wild boar bursts out of the bushes and he jumps in fright, then sighs with relief thinking it was just a boar. And then a shadow falls over him. He looks up and his blood runs cold. A huge, threatening green wolf looms over him, its eyes burning with predatory hunger. This is not good. This is very, very bad. Guild reports warn. These creatures are not only cruel, they hunt in packs and have an incredibly wide detection radius. And of course, he stands right in the middle of all this. But then the most chaotic thing happens. The wolves simply ignore him, sniff around, and do not notice him at all, as if he were a ghost, and our guy is stunned. He finally realizes the full power of his protective blessing. You see, in this world, the blessing is given by the Guild Power app, like some kind of fantasy smartphone. Your choices bring different bonuses, and the fewer letters in the name of the blessing, the stronger it is. His protection blessing is stealth of the highest level, a perfect, insane combination just for him. And what does our hero do? He simply indifferently drops to his knees right next to these deadly predators and starts picking flowers as if it were an ordinary Sunday picnic. He fills the bag, gives the puzzled pack of wolves a barely noticeable nod, and carefully heads into the forest. He returns to the Adventure Guild, a massive and formidable building. But it turns out there are only a couple of ordinary thugs there who are hitting on the Flourichin receptionist. They make sweetened compliments, and she skillfully brushes them off. At that moment, Hikaru enters the room. Floris's face lights up. She warmly greets him, and this immediately draws the attention of two fools. One of them, a suspicious guy, stands right in front of him and says to wait his turn. The guy shows his muscles, calls himself Chernenko Kragalo, and clearly expects our guy to be scared. But Hikaru has a new trick. He sees other people's soul boards and their characteristic screens, even this guy's stats, real trash, squeezed to the limit with almost no effort. So Hikaru starts teasing him, asking why a real adventurer wastes time flirting with the receptionist instead of getting on with the mission. Chernenko just explodes and yells at him to shut up. His friend has to drag him away, but before that he throws Hikaru a look that promises a sea of pain. Flora is completely panicked. Can you handle this? She asks, worried that he has made a dangerous enemy. She warns him that in the guild Chernenko is famous for his strength. Robe just laughs. I don't think they're that strong, he says, shrugging. He explains that strength in this world is tied to blessings, and he just got a very, very powerful set. Although experienced travelers can have 4 blessings, legends have 5, and that elevates them to a mythical level. Our hero boasts such an epic set of titles that even the Demon King would blush. Night Stalker, Blessing of the Typhoon, and Assassin Thing. Yes, exactly, Assassin Thing. He lightly brushed off her worry and handed over his quest items. He plopped the bag on the counter and Fleur froze. That's all I have, he says indifferently. She looks at him as if he has 3 heads, that's all. She explains that the district he went to is literally teeming with fierce wolf griffins. But there were no green wolves there, right? She asks, pointing accusingly. When he confirms that there were, she just clasps her palms, completely confused, and concludes that he must have been insanely lucky. He passes his evaluation. He is handed a heavy bag of coins payment for all his troubles. He gives Fleur a sincere, warm smile and thanks her for everything. This seems to have caught her by surprise just as he was about to leave. He decides he still has time for one more mission. Fleur's face lit up like a Christmas tree. If so, she exclaimed, I will find the best missions for Hikaru-san. She rushes off to find them, and our guy can't help but notice why all the adventurers are drawn to her stall. While waiting, his thoughts wander to the girl who saved him. He hasn't heard anything from her since. Fleur returned and he shuddered with surprise. And he decides to inquire for information. Hey, he asks casually, have you heard anything in the city? Is it about someone very important being killed? She froze completely and whispered in response, where did you hear that? This story is my best secret. He pretends to be a fool, says his memory is foggy, and she is convinced that no other adventurers are involved. But let's say that people from the authorities came to the guild and asked to investigate the murder. She leaned close and quietly whispered to him that it is a secret. Before changing the subject and handing him a stack of carefully selected missions, he thanks her again, this time for her incredible hospitality. And she simply melted. It seems adventurers are never this kind. And she dreams that there were more like him. The girl is completely confused. He reviews the best missions and there are only household chores. Cleaning, roof repair, conversations with elderly people. With a serious expression on his face, our hopeless hero looked at her and said, sorry, but I will refuse all of them. Absolutely a savage move. Instead, he takes a quest to hunt red-horned rabbits. According to Fleur, they are extremely hard to defeat. They have an incredible ability to detect and insane speed. And for our guy with his hiding skill, it's like a walk in the park. He sneaks up on one so quietly that it doesn't even notice he's nearby. He hesitated for a moment, again not used to all these killings. But his eyes became stern, and he hits the target. As soon as the rabbit falls, it is enveloped in a dazzling light. He gained a new level. His soul rank increased. Power, and he knows it. He cannot be the only one who has it. With new points so tempting to spend, he decides to return to the guild. He has a simple plan. Grind quests, earn money, and keep a low profile until the noise around the Count's murder dies down. But walking through the city, he accidentally overhears a conversation between two patrol riders. His ears instantly pricked up when the name of Count Morgus was mentioned. They found the killer. The words hit him like a truck. He stands bewildered, but that's impossible, he thinks, because I am the one who killed the Count. Who did they catch? He must find out more and quickly. He returned to the guild and stands, intently staring at the task board, completely lost in thought. He thought so when Fleur snapped him out of that state. He is just here to turn in the rabbit quest. They called the old man to appraise the horn. Hikaru glances at him, thinking that he is just some appraiser. But then he activates his soul board vision. Old Jenkin Fibelzek is simply a monster. His stats are just off the charts. And he has a skill called mass destruction, even more powerful than the one Hikaru has. At the old man's place our boards LL Soul. Hikaru did not doubt for a moment, this man is the guild master. The guild master catches him staring and asks in a voice cold as ice, are you looking at me as if I am some kind of target? Hikaru instantly steps back, hiding his nerves behind an indifferent mask. Later that day, when the work finally ended, Hikaru approaches Fleur. I want to ask you a personal question, he says seriously. She immediately falls into complete panic. He walks through the city, firmly convinced that Fleur definitely knows something about the investigation. Suddenly his senses screamed, someone is following him. He glances to the side and sees silhouettes. It's Chernenko with his team. They came out for blood. Thanks to his detection skills, he literally feels their murderous intent from 10 meters away. A sly smile appeared on his face as he ran into the alley. The thugs follow behind and suddenly come upon a dead end. Where the hell did he go? Chernenko roars. Our guy is standing right in front of them, invisible and just sinisterly chuckling. I am standing right in front of you, but I am a bit busy right now. Breaking away from the thugs, he reached the cafe to meet Fleur. He finds her waiting. She is not in uniform and he freezes at how good she looks. He tells her she looks wonderful and she blushes madly. They sit down. He immediately gets to the point, and she jokingly teases him, pretending he invited her for tea to extract information from her. To make amends, he offers to buy her anything from the menu. Her eyes lit up when she ordered what she had long dreamed of trying. The waiter returns, carrying a giant fruit smoothie with 2 straws. Fleur blushed to the edge. Hey, no, she protests, but Hikaru does not back down. You have to behave like a man and drink this with me, he insists. After a few gentle coaxings, she finally agrees. And they lean closer to each other. They both take a sip and immediately agree it is tasty. When the right mood arrives, he goes for the decisive blow. I have a question for you, he begins. They say they caught the murderer of Count Morgus. Everything changes in an instant. The smile disappears, the eyes become steel, and the air turns ice cold. Where did you hear that? She demands, her voice dangerously low. He says he heard it from the patrol officers, and she insists. This is very secret information. He apologizes for pressing, then tells a half-truth. One of his friends had an unpleasant experience with the Count who. It seems that it really worked. She finally agrees and whispers to him that the one found dead will be sent to the royal court in 3 days to be sentenced. The last piece of the puzzle slammed into place, and horror overwhelmed him. He was the first to find him dead in that place. This is impossible, right? The girl who saved his life is now called a criminal. His eyes narrowed with cold fury. This makes no sense at all. He clenches his fist and a new determination burns within it. I must go. Now it's my turn to save her. 2 guards patrol the dimly lit mansion, their footsteps echoing in the silence. The night watch is almost over and one of them is already impatient. Our night watch is about to end, he sighs with relief. His partner, the one who is always worried, just grumbled in response. You worry too much, you know, nothing will happen. But they are completely wrong. For quietly from the shadows, our guy watches them with a grim expression on his face. He never thought he would have to return to this cursed place. He has already checked the guardhouse and the isolation cell, but she was not there. This could only mean one thing. She is still being held somewhere in the Count's mansion. Voices of the guards reach him. Someone says that the security is being strengthened, and this only complicates matters. Alone in the long empty corridor, our hero carefully examines everything around. The real question is, where could they be keeping her? He tries the door nearby, but it is locked tight. He curses his failure and thinks, if only he knew how to pick locks, everything would be much easier. At that very moment, he hears footsteps and presses into the shadow. Another guard on patrol, but this one is different. He has a dog. A huge Doberman growls as it walks down the corridor, sniffing the air, and our hero is completely confused. But suddenly an absurd idea flashes in his head. Using his gloomy god of occult powers, he can confuse the dog in its senses, and this might actually be useful. As if on command, the dog rushes to certain doors and starts barking loudly, alerting its handler. The guard, deciding that the dog just needs a break or something like that, unlocks the door with a click and swings it open, revealing an absurdly luxurious and elegant bedroom. He looks inside, sees nothing, and kneels down to gently pet his partner. See, there's nothing here, maybe you're hungry. And then our guy shows his cosmic move. He turns off invisibility so the dog recognizes his scent, and at the very second the guard looks away, he turns it back on, cleverly deceiving both man and beast so the door opens. A successful but very risky maneuver. It was touch and go, but it worked. He is inside. He finds himself as if in a library. Bookshelves stretch along all the walls. He randomly pulls out a book, an adventure one, then another. The same. This is a room for someone who dreams of escape. The interior is extremely exquisite. Obviously, this is a young woman's bedroom. And suddenly he notices a dress is hanging in the corner, the very same from that night. This is her room. It seems no one has used it for a long time. She must be somewhere else. But before he could figure it out, he heard footsteps approaching. He crouched and slipped into the room just at the moment when 2 more guards were slowly passing by, yawning and grumbling that they wanted to sleep. They are gossiping. Hey, I heard what you said, one begins. Our hero pressed his ear to the door and listened intently. They are talking about the investigation and that the killer has already been caught. Talks about tour filled the air. They are already preparing to transport her to the capital. And then the guard drops a real bombshell. Too bad she got stuck in that stinky basement. Bingo, his eyes suddenly widened. She had been underground all this time. He quickly finds a hidden hatch in the floor, the entrance to the basement. He looked down the stairs and saw only one guard below, just what he needed. He quietly sneaks down and tries to open the door, but of course, it is locked. The key is probably upstairs with one of the guards, but just as he turns to go up, he hears voices again. 2 more guards go downstairs, and one boasts that he almost spent a hot night with the maid. And the other teases him for that. She is a real find, says the first, but she stands right in front of the entrance and blocks my way. His friend says, let's go together to check that girl. Patrol time, huh? I'm ready to go anyway, says the first guard, pulling out a key. This is bad. The corridor is too narrow. Even quietly, they will run right into him. He is completely cornered. His plan is ruined. A dark thought flashed through his mind: murder. He could kill them both. Neither of them is armored, so it would be easy. The weight of the decision crushes him. Is he really going to kill 2 innocents just because they made a mistake and got in his way? His face twists into a mask of despair and determination. He must. He raises the dagger, muscles tense, ready to strike, but suddenly a voice came from the top of the stairs, the maid, and she is terribly angry. What is wrong with you? The guards were completely caught off guard, and she rages at Sir Ist for sleeping in women's rooms in taverns. The other guard just covered his face with his palm. Come on, he sighs, I don't care what happens to you. The maid almost drags the embarrassed knight up the stairs, and our guy catches the moment and quietly disappears into the shadows. Another guard went up after them, and the corridor suddenly became completely empty. A miracle. And suddenly he sees it. On the wall, forgotten in the chaos, hangs a key which... Finally the tension snapped, and our hero, breathing heavily, slumped against the wall. Oh, that was too close. He almost became a murderer, and that will haunt him for the rest of his life. He gathers his will into a fist. He is right, he wants to save her, but if something goes wrong, he will have to be ready to make hard decisions. Sometimes murder will be inevitable, but he pushes that dark thought away completely. He will think about it later. Right now he has more important matters. He unlocks the lock and enters. There, in a glowing, rune-covered magical prison, sits a beautiful young woman calmly, absorbed in a book. She looks up, her face expressionless, and asks, "Who are you?" He steps forward. "I am the one who killed the Count," he says directly. "I came here to save your life." She simply thanks him for coming but says it is impossible. "This is a magical prison, I can't even touch it. It was created by the master of the Alchemists Guild, and only he can open it. Perhaps his murder is the key." Our guy implies that his mind is still in that darkness. She looks at him, her eyes sharp and clear. "You can't kill innocent people," she says, her voice cutting through his chaotic thoughts. "Your mind is clouded." A wild shout hits him like a slap. He stumbles. "But I saved your life, don't you want to get out of here?" Her answer is furious. "I don't want to," she says, closing her eyes. "Why? Because I have fulfilled my mission since you killed that man." He froze in surprise but still confirms that she is the Count's daughter. "He killed her father and she is so calm." "Don't look at me like that," she says coldly. She says that the cage was not just to hold her. The Alchemists Guild put a ridiculous amount of effort into it, and all for a very specific reason. She reaches out her hand, and from him bursts a huge crackling power that shakes the very air in the room. "What the hell?" our hero shouts, stumbling backward. Her magic is wild, but she can only use one type: destructive magic. She thanks him again, a small sad smile on her face. "I didn't even know someone wanted to help me." She even asks who framed him for the murder, for which she takes all the blame. She utters her grim fate. In 3 days she will be taken to the capital, where the king will make her a living weapon, a secret assassin, to destroy his enemies, and her existence will forever become a dark stain in history. She talks about it so indifferently, and our main hero simply cannot bear it. "You mean to say the king will make you an assassin using your powers?" he asks, confused. She seems satisfied. At least for a moment someone cared about her. This is too much. How could she so easily lose the will to live? He feels his resolve hardening. She tells him that the time has come, he must leave before the patrol arrives. But then he sees it. Her hands resting on the book tremble incessantly. He clearly remembers all those adventure novels in her room. This is not a person who gave up, this is a person in terror. "And Vince, there is no retreat. Won't you at least say your name?" he asks, his voice quiet but firm, and she replies that he will just forget it. It must not hear this. But he sharply cut in, "No, of course not. My name is Hikaru. Now tell me, what's your name?" Her calm finally cracked. Tears run down her face, and gasping she whispered her name. "I am Lavia von Moristad. I am Lavia." She begs him, "Just call me Lavia, Lavia. I need you," but she immediately snapped out of it. "Of course you are not." She begs him not to say another word and not to give her that hope, the loss of which she cannot endure. But it is already too late. Our hero looks her straight in the dead eyes. "The decision is made, yet I will save you." He continues, "You are right. I do not want to kill the innocent, so let me get you out of here without killing anyone." He will burst into her life whether she wants it or not. The moment will come in 3 days when she is taken to the capital. "Can I trust you?" she whispers, her voice trembling. "Won't I become a burden?" He waved it off. "I don't care. After all, it was my life you saved first, if you could save me." She reaches out her hand through the magical bars, her face a true storm of emotions. "I will give everything to save you," he vows. Later the guards return and see Livia as if she simply fell asleep. The clock has now officially started ticking, only 3 days left until the escape plan is executed. The action shifts. Our guy is again in the Adventurers Guild and plans his next move before saving Lavia. He needs to gather money to then hide her. He is irritated his usual receptionist Flairchen is not in place. He scans the quest board, but all the low-level tasks are complete trash. Suddenly another receptionist approaches him with a deceptively sweet smile. "May I see your guild card?" She takes it and her smile falters. Hikaru is an ordinary civilian, and she cannot understand why Flair is so obsessed with someone so painfully ordinary. There must be something else, she thinks, and asks him if he has any other gifts. He just pretends as if he understands nothing at all. She is sure that he is hiding some incredible power, and that Flair ordered him to keep silent about it. Trying to please him, she offers the perfect request for a newbie. A simple delivery quest for 200 Jailans. She tells him, "Wait for me near the stall outside." The hero agrees, but he is not a fool. He knows exactly where this is all leading. This delivery is to the gloomy part of the city. He activates the stealth skill and steps into the dark entrance of the sewer, teeming with bats. He immediately eavesdrops on 2 thugs complaining. Supposedly, it would be easier to just kill their clients and take the stuff, but their boss apparently does not tolerate bloodshed. He follows them deeper and notices that they are tracking someone. It's time to test his updated and improved stealth combo. He activates a magical lock and a new skill, sensory shutdown, which makes him so invisible that people write to him and their brains simply refuse to register his existence. The thugs were heading to meet their boss, a man named Kelbeck. Our guy feels a strange connection to this name, as if this is the person he was destined to meet. His title is Obsolete Toolmaker, but Hikaru senses that there is much more behind it. They reached fortified doors and were led into a hideout. The boss, a guy with flame tattoos on his face sprawled in a chair, feet on the table, immediately snapped at his subordinates for being 5 minutes late. "You are both responsible," he growls. After a harsh verbal scolding, he sends them away. As soon as they left, our guy leisurely enters the room and smiling politely says, "Hello." The chief almost jumped out of his skin. "Who are you?" he asks. Carr calmly explains that he is not looking for a fight. He extends the scroll. "You have a delivery." The boss is completely puzzled but still agrees. He sees the seal of the Adventurers Guild and relaxes a little, but questions immediately started pouring in. "How did you get here?" The boss knows no one will get in there that easily. He called his guards who were standing right next to Hikaru and they approached nodding. No one was allowed to pass. They literally do not see the guy standing just 2 steps away from them. The boss understands this guy is on a completely different level. Hikaru, as if nothing had happened, simply asks him to sign the paper. The boss, all sweaty, signs this. He plunges it again and extends it. But as soon as our hero returns, his boss stops him. "Wait a minute, who do you take me for?" And he definitely knows Hikaru is not just a courier. He shows who he really is. This is the Thieves Guild. Impressed and frightened, the boss offers our hero his help in the future, but for a certain price. "Remember, don't get into trouble with the Adventurers Guild," he warns, "but if something happens, just say the word." When Hikaru leaves, the boss smiles sinisterly. This kid is scary but definitely worth attention. Back at the guild, the cunning receptionist lies in wait. She deliberately sent him to the Thieves Guild territory, hoping he would be caught so she could then jump in and save him, making him owe her. She froze in shock when he entered completely unharmed. "Did you meet Kelbeck-san?" she asks. "Yes, I did, nothing special," he says, and she remains completely puzzled. She extends a reward to the major 200 Jalen. His head was spinning. How did he manage that? While he was pondering his next move, an old man from the guild approached him. "He has super news. Redhorn Rabbit Pell was sold for an astronomical sum, about 147,500 gillen. Our guy is simply stunned, more than 140,000. And just like that, all his money problems disappeared. Most of the money is now in the guild bank. Now, with pockets full and confidence overflowing, he returns to the elder and says, "I would like you to answer a few questions." Our hero strides through the forest, thoughts racing. The operation to redeem the rabbit was a trifle, but the real goal is to find at least a crumb of information about Lavie's transfer, and only that matters. He clenches his fist, fire burning in his eyes. He didn't come to play, but to level up and prepare for the rescue mission of his life. This forest is now his personal grinding spot. A few days ago, he set out for wisdom to the guild elder, Unkan-san. Our hero, like a child asking for a cookie, questions him about some particularly evil monsters lurking nearby. He says he plans to stay here for a long time, so he needs to earn money, and that means heading into that creepy forest. The old man strokes his beard, his intuition seemingly at its peak. He senses everything, leans in as if about to tell the hottest gossip, and warns that there are 4 major threats our guy must avoid. He lays it all out. Green wolves, giant bees, forest barbarians, and a huge horde of goblins crawling ever closer to the city. The mention of 300 goblins widens our guy's eyes. Onkin describes giant bees, insects with massive wings that, if you just look at them sideways, will call their own and turn a simple fight into a real nightmare. Then he describes the forest barbarian 10 feet tall, with powerful forearms, a one-eyed walking horror. Our hero's conclusion: avoid at all costs. The old man pointed away from their gathering place near the eastern lake, and our guy instantly dashed away. That's exactly where he is standing now, on the shore of that very eastern lake, and sees that the old man was not mistaken. He could hunt random creatures, but that's ineffective. The goal: to take on the most dangerous monsters to gain the most experience. He clearly doesn't want to mess with a swarm of bees or an entire army of goblins, so even before he could finish that thought, a lone green wolf silently sneaks into view. Great, our hero grimaced in a smile, activated the stealth skill, and vanished from sight. The wolf doesn't even suspect it's being watched. In a moment, he closed the distance, and with one quick, powerful slash, it was all over. The wolf let out a final painful scream and collapsed dead before it even touched the ground. The assassin skill is just unreal strong, one hit and that's it. But when the adrenaline fades, a strange feeling overwhelms him. And he already leveled up much faster than he expected. A cold realization dawns on him. The guilt over killing recedes. He is getting used to it. He pulls himself together, understands that this is a battle of the heart and he must keep it under control. So he sets several rules for his new life. Gather information, prepare thoroughly, and when the time comes to strike, never hesitate, then move on. He briefly glanced at his status, rank 8, so he decided to postpone the points for now. It's time to get back to work. He squints his eyes. He hears a distant noise and a scream escapes him. Suddenly, the scenes turn into complete chaos. A group of adventurers is completely overwhelmed by what seems to be an endless horde of goblins. They are surrounded and they fight for their lives. Among them are 3 girls, but one of them, a healer named Pauline, is completely frozen with fear. The horror of the moment paralyzed her, and in her head screamed that she should never have embarked on this adventure. And how did they end up in this mess? A memory in the guild hall, 2 suspicious guys cunningly persuade them to take a lucrative job near the eastern lake. The promise of easy money was too tempting, resisting was impossible. And although her friend Paya warned her, Pauline could not resist. She just dreamed of earning enough to send money home to her village. The shadowy leader only laughed at their fears, saying the rumors about danger were pure exaggeration. He boasted that he would deal with any monster himself. Pia, always the protector, promised to guard Pauline. But Polly deeply knew in her soul that it was a terrible mistake. And now her nightmare became reality. 3 girls fight desperately, but in vain. Suddenly an arrow flies out of the crowd and one of the suspicious adventurers falls. This is not just a crowd, it is a united army of goblins. The leader of the scoundrels suddenly panics and admits that he thought he was just fooling some newbie adventurers, but now they are all doomed. He turns to the frightened Pauline with a disgusting smile and asks, "Do you know what goblins want?" "Descendant," he said mockingly. He reveals his vile plan: goblins want women, not men. Paulina is completely confused. Then he grabs her, intending to eat her right in front of the goblin horde to distract them. "You can save us," he shouts, pushing her forward. Her friends shout her name, but it is already too late. The man justifies his beastly act, shouting that a healer does just that, saves people's lives. He pushes her to the ground and leaves her to fate. Tyra squeezes her. The goblins, whose eyes are filled with malice, begin to advance on her helpless figure. One of them suddenly showed a grotesque, predatory smile. She lets out a final, hopeless scream. Here it is, all her dreams of becoming an adventurer die right here. She imagined leaving her village and having a fateful meeting with a handsome hero in the city. And to fall in love. What a foolish fantasy. She tightly closes her eyes and wants to die. And then nothing. The goblins do not move. The silence is cut by a calm voice. "That was close." A figure loomed over her, blocking the terrible sight. "Are you okay?" he asks. Her eyes focus and she sees him. Our guy is already here. She froze, completely stunned by the sudden rescuer. He extends his hand. "Can you get up?" Here it is, here it is. The fateful meeting, a real hero has appeared. He calmly tells the still stunned Paula to step back. But she is completely stunned. Instead of stepping back, she throws herself at him and thanks him again and again. Meanwhile, that scoundrel who handed her over to the wolves shouts in rage that sacrificing her was our only way out. Our hero's eyes narrow. "Ah," he says calmly, "now I understand. So you wanted to use her as bait and run away," he said, and effortlessly pushed away the pole that was still holding, then stepped towards the coward, who only stammered in response. Just as Paya was about to unleash her anger, our hero pointed to the forest. A horn sounded. "They will retreat soon," he said calmly. As if by a wave of a hand, a whole horde of goblins became confused and started to flee. The suspicious adventurers were stunned. Our leader says, "Run while you can." And they don't need to be told twice. They immediately rush away without even thinking. When the immediate threat passed, he checks Paula. She is burning with shame, but assures that she is fine because she can heal herself. Paya is boiling with rage. The cowards ran away, but our hero calms her down. "Don't worry." He says their reputation is ruined forever. As soon as it becomes known that they use their own people as bait, no one will ever work with them again. The only way to fix this is to silence the witnesses. He admits that he was watching their 2 companions. They are easy to deceive, and tells the girls to go on without him. Paula does not accept this. She politely introduced herself and almost begged him to escort them to the lake. Her friends join in and he finally gives in, agreeing to watch over them from afar. Paula's face faded. It was clear how upset she was that he would not be nearby. Her friend Paya instantly teases her and exposes her. She secretly writes unreal novels. Paula completely loses her head and breaks into a sweet embarrassment. While they were walking, our hero recalled his research. The only reason he knew how to make the goblins retreat was that he had read about them in an old archival book. Work knowledge is power after all, but his thoughts are suddenly interrupted by another sound. He raises his eyes and sees. The girls are already surrounded again by a crowd of goblins. His skill of sneaking unnoticed is perfect for eliminating an enemy alone, but against such a horde it is absolutely useless. His eyes scan the chaos, searching, and finally he notices him, the goblin leader. Bingo! By knocking out the boss, the entire command structure will collapse. He instantly throws 1 point into strength. He disappears, quietly slips through the rows of goblins. No one notices and swiftly jumps onto the leader's back, plunging a dagger deep into his skull. The strike is brutal and flawless. The boss is instantly destroyed and collapsed into a heap while the nearby goblins looked on in confusion. The system instantly rewarded him. For 1 kill, he jumped immediately 3 ranks, and the surge of power momentarily took his breath away. As he predicted, the horde without a leader begins to panic and scatter. But one goblin in despair rushed straight at Paula. There is no time to think. He touches the screen and invests a point in explosiveness. He becomes a blurred spot. moves so fast it seems like teleportation, and stabs the goblin with a dagger just a few centimeters from his target. Another life saved, another monster defeated. Finally, they reach the safe shore of the lake. The girls thank him for everything and he tells them, be careful. They wave goodbye to him and he returns to the forest to finish the hunt. By nightfall, he had noticeably increased his level. He even managed to defeat that terrible forest barbarian he was warned about. He checked his status, accumulated 10 points, enough for now. He heads to the guild, determined to find any information about the convoy transporting Lavia. He looked inside and his gaze met Lavia's gaze. But he is met not only by her. Nearby stand the 3 girls he saved, and they are ready to expose the betrayal of their former comrades. Lavia asks him to tell about the goblin horde. But even before he could somewhat comprehend the request, she grabs his cloak, and her face is a mask of sweet, frantic jealousy. After what you did last time and now messing around with other girls, what's wrong with you? She demands. Our guy, completely confused, agrees to explain it over dinner. Lavia drags the whole team to a restaurant famous for incredible pasta. The girls he saved are stunned. They can't believe how expensive it is. The size of our hero was annoying. He has no time for this, but Lavia knew the girls would follow him anyway, so she decided to take this chaos under control. Suddenly, Kinson and the restaurant owner appear. The owner recognized our hero as a rabbit hunter, and without hesitation, offered to buy directly from him, the innards usually thrown away so the hero wouldn't have to go to the guild, and extra money would appear in his pocket. Both sides win. And then the owner introduces himself as Hikaru, and a wildly awkward moment happens when our guy has to shout, "My name is Hikaru." The owner, delighted by his attitude, joyfully announces that all their food is free. At the thought of free food, the girls explode with joy. Hala, completely bewildered by his generosity and heroism, blurted out that she would become his slave for 9 nights, and everyone at the table was engulfed in embarrassment. Over a plate of delicious pasta, our hero explains his plan. Reading an old encyclopedia, he learned that goblin hordes are held together by a chain of command. Remove the leader, and the army will fall apart. Lavia was impressed. He read everything. And the girls are simply depressed. They realized how much they don't measure up to this level. Paya asks how they can even repay him and suggests, let's say, her gratitude will be very personal. Paula enthusiastically agrees, while Avia desperately tries to stop the whole conversation. Our hero waved it off but still has one request. He asks Livia to keep silent about the entire incident, especially about the treacherous adventurers. He needs to remain unnoticed. Pala was about to object, but suddenly said he has one more question for Lavia. Are the adventurers assigned to the capital escort caravan already in the city? He asks. Lavia's shocked face says it all. She is impressed by how clever he is. He confirms tonight a team of 4 girls of rank B will arrive. The others were just shocked. In a town like Pondo, rank B is a real sensation. Lavia looks at him with serious eyes, pronounces their name 4 stars of the East and they have a perfect 100 mission completion. Our hero's meat hardens. He will have to fight a flawless opponent. Our unsuspecting main hero receives a brief explanation. Levi is being escorted by so-called rank B adventurers. But the info gets hot. It turns out that behind the convoy actually stands the legendary quartet 4 stars of the East, and when the plan hangs by a thread, our guy decides he must personally see these legends. Elsewhere, the guild master and his deputy are laughing at something, not worrying at all about the risky mission. Their small conversation is suddenly interrupted by a suspicious guy who asks who they were talking about. The man and his 2 no less suspicious friends step out of the shadows, puffing out their chests. "We are the distant twinkling stars," they shout with all the confidence of a wet paper bag. Standing aside and watching from afar, our hero is simply shocked. He is only rank C, but even he can see that these guys are a real joke. They are not the 4 stars of the East, they are just 3 bunglers. This is definitely not the information I received, he mutters, narrowing his eyes. Something is seriously wrong here. He activates his skills, his gaze fixed on the team leader. A quick glance immediately revealed the truth. His stats are pathetic, and the life detection skill is so weak that our stealth simply mocks it. Glancing at the other 2, he was convinced. Before him was a bunch of second-rate adventurers, so he decided to continue watching how this chaos unfolds. Leader Nabuza is already boasting, bragging that for this job they only need 3 people. Bandits aren't stupid enough to attack us, he mocks, radiating unfounded, truly epic confidence. Then he approaches the guild master closely and demands respect. We are not substitutes, you can expect that we are better than them. The guild master, drenched in sweat, barely muttered agreement and seemed to hand them the keys to the city. The deputy master tries to intervene, indignantly asking why they need to stay overnight before a mission that starts during the day. But that gang of thugs just brushed him off and walked out the door, swaying and acting as if it was their place. The old man sighed and bitterly lamented how low the capital guild had fallen. They so carelessly raised ranks that they even invented a new one. Master Swordsman. It turns out this title belongs to none other than the legendary captain of the Royal Knights Lawrence Dono. Our main hero has already seen everything. This funny team is his golden chance. A smile blossomed on his face. Luck is on my side, he thinks, and plunges into the night. The guards are weak, the plan is flawed. Tomorrow is the day, tomorrow he saves Levia. Meanwhile, at the estate where Lavia is held, 2 night guards stand on duty. One is uneasy, not believing that she is a killer, since the official investigator has not even arrived yet. Our beloved captain told us simply to follow orders. His partner reminds him, but doubt still remains. Inside, the journeyman closely watches the transmission. He explains that Lavia's shackles or magicalthy will come off by themselves once a certain time has passed. They will hold out until night, but no longer. He says goodbye to the night and leaves. Lavia is led outside under the dazzling sun, and on her face is an icy mask of indifference. A sudden gust of wind seems to throw her off balance. She staggered, almost fell before the knight caught up with her, and deep concern was written on his face. When they approach the carriage, the knight sees an elite squad of adventurers waiting for them, and his face darkens. What does this mean? He sharply cut off the guild master. They are not the adventurers we asked for. The guild master simply shrugged and seemed to say to the knight, shut up and do your job. Our guy stands aside, holding his breath, and absorbs the entire quarrel. The lead adventurer Nabuza laughs eerily and stares intently at Levia, a real beauty, huh? Has the knight's patience run out? Are you drunk? Nabuza only smiles in response and throws out, what if we really are like that? And the knight grits his teeth and tells him he cannot escort her in such a state. He turns to Lavia, trying to calm her and assure her that they are almost there. He helps her get into the prison wagon. The other knights are furious. They could not be made the escort because they were witnesses at the manor, and the guild sent exactly them. They did not have enough hands, so there was no other way. To make matters worse, Nabuza whistled at Levia while she was being locked up, the last cruel humiliation. The knight can no longer stand it. He stomps to the coachman, the only one who has the key. Coachman, over here. He moved right up close to the poor man and warned, if anything happens, you will be to blame. Then he pushes that man toward the carriage. Now go away from here. The carriage drives off, leaving the knight, which is seething with irritation. Suddenly, a voice called him by name. It is the captain of the knights himself, Lawrence. He explains that the king sent him to oversee. Knight Asudo begs him to accompany the caravan, insisting that adventurers cannot be trusted, but the captain refuses. He must follow the rules and wait for the investigator. The convoy has already confidently set off on the road. After passing the post, the coachman suddenly feels a strange premonition. Suddenly, the carriage seemed heavier than it was before. He shook his head, thinking he was just imagining it as they crossed the bridge. On the open road, boredom attacks Nabuza. He approaches and ends up next to the driver. Driver, give me the key, that he demands. The frightened driver hesitates, but Nabuza demonstrates his S-rank status, and the old man knows he has no choice. This whole mission is just a way for these clowns to make some money. But before he could grab the key, his companion shouted, Nagusa, look ahead. A figure in a cloak stands over what seems to be a dead body in the middle of the road, asking for water. That's our guy in masterful disguise. One of the thugs throws him a water skin. Nabuza yells at him to disappear, but our hero extends a small pouch of coins as thanks. Nabuza's greed takes over. He puffs out his chest and orders the traveler to spread his name everywhere. Nabuza Gagyigo, the hero, are. Our guy just nods, understood. In a moment, Nobis yawns. He is bored to death. That's enough, he can't take it anymore. He instantly glanced back at the carriage. Hey coachman, time to rest, stop the carriage. He slapped the old man, pulled out the key, and with a sinister smile declared, I will keep the lady company, I will kill her. He opened the door, and his disgustingly clear intentions were obvious. He reaches inside, grabs the blanket, and gently covers the sleeping figure. With a savage smile, he suddenly tears it away. And his eyes opened wide. The bed is empty. Nobis is going crazy. The woman they were escorting has disappeared. His team is in complete panic. The prisoner is missing. Just a few hours ago, in the same carriage, Levia's hope shattered into pieces. Our hero said he would save her, but did not come. It was only a moment of hope. No one would dare challenge the king to save her. She sighs, and a sad memory emerges from childhood. She remembers the proverb, happiness flees with every sigh. Hey, please don't raise your voice. At La Vie they caught their breath. Our chief is right there in the carriage with her. He instantly put a finger to her lips and whispered SHSH, not letting her scream. Her shock melted and turned into pure, sincere joy. He really came for her. This man is her savior. He quickly tells his absurdly epic plan. He saw the handcuffs with a timer, saw her being put into the carriage, and realized the only key is with the coachman. He waited until they left the city. While the guards were distracted, he instantly jumped onto the roof, grabbed the key from the driver, and used a random merchant as cover, slipped inside, flawlessly. Now the most important part, he says, handing her a cloak, and asks her to make a mannequin out of a blanket. First, he must look into her soul board to see if the stealth skill is hidden there. Then he reveals his most secret. He is not like ordinary people, their skills improve by themselves. He sees and can manipulate soulboards in anyone who is within a 5-meter radius of him. This means that he can literally climb into other people's indicators and twist them as he pleases. He activates his ability and its characteristics instantly appear. She cannot remain unnoticed, but her magical thinking is simply beyond limits. Then he notices something heart-wrenching. Her family name Morgstead is completely crossed out. She was disowned. No time to hesitate, he quickly invests points into a new skill, group blocking. This allows him to share his ability to hide with everyone he touches. He squeezes everything to the maximum and creates a shared invisibility field. Although it is not perfect, it is their only chance. He lays out the escape plan. They will jump out together. "Don't let go of my hand," he says, and seriousness is heard in his voice. Embarrassed, she takes his hand and nods, "All right." Suddenly, one of the adventurers drives right up to the door. The carriage stops, so this is it. They get out of the carriage, holding hands, and walk right past the guards, who notice absolutely nothing. Lavia is in shock, her mind simply exploded. Completely invisible. They calmly move away from the road into the tall grass, dissolving into the landscape. As soon as they are safe, he quietly throws out a plan to hide in the nearby town of Pondo and disappear among the caravan. He is sure that the one who framed her is a nobleman, and Pondo is under the direct control of the royal family. No sensible nobleman would dare to hide a fugitive right under the king's nose. Suddenly, he sharply pulls her down into the grass. "What is this?" she whispers. He raises a finger to his lips, listening intently. The sound of hooves fast. No, he grits his teeth, his face grim. A lone knight gallops at full speed towards the convoy. This guy has a completely different build. He looks much stronger than the others. This is very, very bad. If that knight reaches the carriage and sees that it is gone, the whole area will be swarming with search parties. They must immediately return to Pondo so he can establish an alibi. If he is not in the city when this news breaks, he will immediately become the prime suspect. "Stay here and don't move," he tells Lavia. "I will slow down this night." He pulls on the mask, determination hardening like steel, invests the last few skill points into weapon mastery, and raises the throwing skill to level 2. He picks up the stone. "Calm down, I will handle this." That night turned out to be none other than Captain Lawrence. He was worried about suspicious adventurers and decided to join the caravan himself. But as he rushes down the road, a stone flying at incredible speed strikes his horse's head. The horse shattered into pieces, and Lawrence, like a cat, landed on his feet completely unharmed. He draws his sword, his voice thunders across the field. "My name is Lawrence D. Falcon of the Honorary Order of Knights. You must be ready to die." Our guy froze. He was face to face with the legendary swordsman himself. All the intelligence he had turned out to be false. He needed to see this guy's soulboard as soon as possible. Lawrence exhales a threatening aura that you feel in your body like physical force, and the air around begins to vibrate. Our hero trembles. This incredible power is simply overwhelming. He cannot run, he must get closer. He quietly crawls through the grass, 8 meters 6. Only 2 more steps. Suddenly Lawrence sharply turned his head toward me and his terrible gaze pierced me. He found me. "Are you here, coward?" Lawrence roars. But our hero realizes the knight does not actually see him. His invisibility holds. He approaches closely to examine the soul board and his blood runs cold. The indicators are simply monstrous. Muscle mass 16, great sword 6, heavenly sword. This guy is a real monster. If he hadn't stopped him, it would have been the end of the game. Now he will have to win this fight with just a little stone. Suddenly Lawrence sharply points right at him. "It's you, isn't it?" Then he gestures towards Lavia's hiding place 50 meters away and asks, "Is Lavia with you?" How his intuition skill is a cheat code. In panic, our guy swallows another stone with all his might. But Lawrence just smiles and with a light wrist movement cleanly cuts the tiny stone in half. Before our hero can react, a new enemy appears nearby, one of the suspicious adventurers from the caravan. This is the end. The adventurer's attack hit the ground, and from there exploded a giant cloud of dirt and grass. But when the dust settles, Lawrence looks confused. "I didn't hit with that strike." A few steps away, our hero stumbled, blood dripping from his hand. "Lucky I would have been dead if not for my explosive power." He, gasping, glanced at the captain. "You are a monster." Trapped, wounded, and against 2 enemies who clearly outmatch him, what else can he do? Our guy is cornered and staring directly at the monster named Lawrence. The memory of that last blow flashes in his head. If his explosive reaction and skill hadn't worked, he would already be dead. He thinks, "Damn, what next?" Because this guy is a huge problem. He clenches his bleeding hand, pain piercing him. "Calm down," he whispers to himself, trying to focus. First of all, he needs to hide the evidence. He tears a piece of his cloak and, grimacing, tightens the makeshift bandage with his teeth. He draws a mental map of the battlefield. Lawrence on the road, the meadow is his only cover. The plan is to cross the road and keep away, but even he knows this is only a half-baked idea. And what will happen next? This dude Lawrence is on another level. He can cut a pebble right in the air as if it's nothing. Our hero is puzzled. Lawrence is absolutely ruthless, and a direct fight is suicide. He racks his brain. How did he even notice that pebble? After all, Lawrence didn't know where he was hiding. Suddenly, he is struck by a terrible realization. It's not that he saw the pebble, it's that the pebble moved away from him. His hiding skill had a limited range. As soon as the pebble he threw went beyond that bubble of concealment, Lawrence probably sensed a change in the wind and reacted only with a wild, uncontrollable instinct. What a beast. He understands before him is a boy with superhuman senses. He knows there is only one way out, a risky bet, and suddenly the grass stirred. It is Lavia. He grabs her, his voice a sharp whisper. Why did you come? Her face is pale with horror. Let's run away, Hikaru. It's not a big deal if we don't return to that city, she begs, her voice trembling. That man, it's too risky. It is then that she sees it. His hands are slippery with blood. She is suffocating, but he interrupts her. Listen, he says hurriedly, the bleeding does not stop. He teaches a grim reality. Returning to the city is almost a death sentence. Lawrence will sooner or later find out that she disappeared, and the guards will rush to search for them, and he cannot get treated without raising a million red flags. And leave her alone in a forest full of monsters while he is out of commission. That's not an option. His eyes narrowed with determination. This is too dangerous. He sees suffocating anxiety in her eyes, but also fierce determination. She is trying to be strong for his sake. He takes her hand, squeezes it tightly, knows what he must do. I will not return without you, he says, and his voice rings with confidence. We are following the plan and will overthrow Lawrence. He looks her straight in the eyes, at me and at you. She is stunned, and me too. He does not embellish the truth. Both paths are devilishly dangerous, but he would rather try and fail to seize the future than just run away and wait for the end. Will you help me? He asks, and she without hesitation looks at him with burning determination. I will help. After everything you have done for me, putting myself in danger is a small thing. Meanwhile, Lawrence creeps along the edge of the field, his senses sharpened and he is alert. He knows they are there. You can hide, but you cannot escape, he growls. These are not just ordinary thugs. He follows their tracks, but the clues contradict each other. The footprints are clumsy, amateurish, but the skill to disappear is like a pro. He carefully scans the road. They probably crossed it, but he noticed nothing, so they are still in the grass. He notices a barely noticeable movement, but brushes it off, deciding it was just an animal. The only thing that troubles him is that the attacker did not try anything else. He sighed, feeling defeated. He escaped. He will no longer waste a minute on them. He indifferently flicks a pebble. It ricochets, clicking against the head of the dead horse with absurd, humiliating contempt. But suddenly he froze. Behind his back suddenly bursts a terrible, threatening pressure. He sharply turns around. To see a wildly massive magic circle on the ground sparkling and coming to life is epic magic of the highest level, from which even the royal wizard would sweat. He spotted a pair of hands sticking out from the grass. The sorcerer lunged forward, ready to erase them before the spell worked. But it's a trap. While his sword cuts the bait, our guy emerges from the shadows. The blade is already pressed to his throat. A perfect counterattack. Lawrence shuddered, realizing he had been trolled. He is completely confused. Why you? Our boss says to Cowley, if you don't want to bleed out, better don't move. With the last cruel cut across Lawrence's neck, he turns to leave. An ordinary person would have died from this, but I know you will survive. Lawrence, clutching his throat, demands to know who he is, but our hero looks back, a suspicious smile appearing on his face. I am Silverface. Lawrence collapses to his knees as the mysterious figure walks away. The name echoes in his head, Silverface. A cold fear pierces him, understands that he was spared. If that curse had worked, he would have evaporated. Damn it, he hisses. Soon our two were already safe inside the merchant's cart, rolling through the city gates. They succeeded, finally safe, nestled against the cargo. Lavia asks about his wound, and he says that now it is fine. It turned out that the merchants had a magical elixir drink that not only stopped bleeding, but also stitched torn muscle back together. It will take a few hours for everything to fully heal, but this is a true miracle of modern magic. Just then, with a quiet click, the magic in Lavia's shackles faded and they fell to the floor. It seems luck has finally smiled upon them. They find an inn where they can spend the night. Our guy tells Levi that he has to step out. Brieflight needs to take care of a few things, and leaves her to rest. This is where he was heading, the Guild of Adventures. He deliberately bumps right into the friendly receptionist, all part of his plan to create a solid alibi. She notices that he is a bit pale, and he smiles and waves it off, saying it's just a tough night. Having made sure there are no suitable quests for him, he thanks her and leaves. Confident that he has covered his tracks, he suddenly bursts into their room and slams the door so hard that Lavia jumps and falls. Oh, sorry, he says, helping her up. He explains that he was just finishing something. She looks at him, her curiosity has finally taken over. Lavia, he asks, and she blushes. I'm a little curious. She asks about his invisibility, wonders if it also blocks sound. He says he can try speaking more quietly. And then, in an act that knocks even himself off his feet, he leans in and kisses her. He pulls back, stunned by his own boldness. And Levia just sits and looks at him with those clear, sincere eyes. I said I would give you everything if you save me. Aren't you afraid of me? He asks, still swaying. He admits he is not a decent person and that he has done terrible things. She just looks at him intently. Didn't I say I would give you everything if you saved me? You remember, don't you? When his face fell and the weight of the moment crashed down on him, I do this. I will not go back on my word, she says with an unwavering voice. Whoever you are, a cruel, cold-blooded man, a rotten undead, or even a monster in human form. The realization overwhelmed him like a tsunami. She was not just speaking words. She accepted him completely. For a long time he feared his powers, feared they would consume him and he would lose everything. But Levia was different. She could accept him. The air in the room seemed to tense. Will you really give yourself to me completely? He asks. She takes a step toward him, her cheeks burning with shame. I heard it hurts for the first time. I'll try not to make too much noise. Her only request, I would like to hold your hand all the time. Over time, she offered him everything and accepted him as he is. His eyes softened. Now it seems to him that his turn has come. A new day rises over what looks like the local adventurers guild. And the morning is already in full swing. Pleasant conversations abruptly end when Freya tells Aurora that the big boss Lunkinson wants to talk to her. The scene changes. We find ourselves in an extremely gloomy office. Lankin, who looks like he is 1,000 years old, delivers shocking news. The mission to escort their squad's bright star turned out to be a catastrophic failure. Aurora froze, instantly imagining the worst: a bandit ambush, an attack by a mutated monster. And Lunkin just shook his head, and this is much stranger. According to the adventurers and their guild, the young lady they were guarding simply disappeared. One moment she was in the carriage, the next poof, gone like a ghost. Lankin almost tears out his beard from stress. This whole affair stinks, and he says there are two main reasons why this story is so full of holes. At first, the Guardian testified that the adventurer Nagusa's team demanded the keys to the carriage. Aurora immediately called them idiots, and the whole matter becomes incredibly suspicious. Another problem, the knight who was supposed to be in the escort never showed up. They say he was allegedly attacked by bandits. And imagine it was not some random guard. It was the commander of the knights himself, Lawrence de Falcon, the one and only Sword Saint. Aurora cannot believe her ears. The Sword Saint was stopped by a bunch of ordinary bandits, and Lunkin adds the last ridiculous detail. The attacker turned out to be a boy who called himself Silverface. The room explodes with simultaneous frantic screams. Did the child defeat the Holy Sword? That's not just impossible, it's a complete violation of the laws of physics and common sense. Aurora tries to somehow explain this, thinking that maybe this boy is just naturally talented, some kind of once-in-a-generation combo prodigy. But Lunkin no longer has any information, leaving them with two completely separate, crazy incidents. Grasping the edge of the table, Lunkin asks Freya if there are any particularly skilled adventurers in the area. Aurora narrows the circle, directly asking about any skilled Dayang people. Lunkin doesn't recall anyone offhand, but notes that our guy Hikaru spent the whole day studying the day before all this, a very interesting coincidence. Having no other clues, Lunkin decides to ask Gloria, although he doesn't expect anything special. Meanwhile, our main hero is leading Levia around the city, and she is simply delighted. Her face is glowing with pure, sincere joy. He points to the shops with weapons and armor, things you can't imagine any real adventure city without. He is already thinking about their future, dreaming of bringing her back here as soon as this chaos is over. And then he points to their next stop, the Adventurers Guild. As soon as she sees it, Lavia freezes, trembling from head to toe. This place, this symbol of freedom and adventure, a dream she never thought she could fulfill. Emotions overwhelmed her, and she simply burst into tears of happiness. Hikaru was a little embarrassed by the sudden splash of water, but Levia jokingly pulled herself together. Her eyes sparkled with delight. She wanted to go inside. She almost bounced off the walls, but our hopeless hero pulls out the last troll trick and tells her they will go another day. Her facial expression falls so fast the sidewalk could crack. Fortunately, the delicious smell from the neighboring bakery saves the awkward moment. After they had a snack, Hikaru reveals his real plan for the afternoon. They are heading out of town. Time to prepare for the adventure, in particular, to test her incredibly powerful magic. Levia instantly filled with excitement again to the fullest. But they step onto the open fields, leaving the city behind. He assures her it is safe here as long as they stay away from the mountains. The view takes their breath away. Before them stretches a huge grassy plain, so vast that a horse would need a whole day to cross it. Before the magic show begins, Hikaru asks to see her soul card. They enthusiastically explain they're essentially fantasy ID cards of this world. He glanced at hers and immediately noticed there is no surname, it simply says Lavia. She meets his gaze, her voice quiet but unwavering. Because I am free now. The weight of these words is simply overwhelming. He slyly dodges her question about the blessing on his card. Instead, her skin. She shows him the reverse side, and there is a whole novel, and the list of skills and characteristics is simply absurd. He aimed specifically at one, the principle of magic, but she had no idea what it was. Her magic had just appeared. So he tells her, show him. She begins enthusiastically explaining spirit magic and those elements that. And now the incantation begins. Respond to my call, spirits burn with primal flame. A giant fireball flew out of her palms, erasing the ground in a chaotic explosion of power. Hikaru was left completely speechless. This raw explosion of power fire breath, the simplest of all fire spells imaginable. He quickly compared in his mind. The adventurer from Cyrenk had 4 points in sword mastery, the guildmaster 6. Livia had 5 points in fire magic, she was a real walking nuclear bomb. She looks at him, her face full of anxiety. Aren't you afraid of me? He doesn't even hesitate. Of course not, and the relief that washes over her is immense. She admits that she was panic-stricken, that he would leave her if he saw her true power. He pulls her clothes and confesses that he felt exactly the same when he told her about his powers, which are beyond human understanding. At that moment, a connection of a completely different level arises between them. He promises he will never leave her. Realizing that the light show probably attracted some attention, they decided to leave quickly. While they walk, he asks her how many of those she can release, and she, as if it's nothing, answers, about 30 times. Inspired, our boy decides to try and perfectly repeats her spell. The result, absolutely nothing, only crystal clear, untouched silence. Livia says that for her it was different the first time her magic manifested accidentally. In the memory, frightened little Livia watches as the horse fiercely rears up. Her fear caused a wild, uncontrollable surge of magical energy, which instantly renders unconscious the horse and 2 adults. Her shadow father learns the news. A sinister smile slowly appears on his face, and he calls his daughter. Next, true horror, he begins to test her, forcing her to fight monsters he brought to the estate. Experiments showed her extraordinary talent in fire magic. She completely burns the training scarecrow. Her father is delighted, not out of pride, but because he found how to use her. Since then, she became a prisoner alone, cut off from the world, and was forever forbidden to leave the estate. Returning to the present, she told Hikaru the whole rotten truth. Her father and the king planned to turn her into a living weapon for the future war. Hikaru's face twisted with rage. It's so cruel. But Livia looks resolutely ahead, the past remains behind. He sincerely thanks her for her trust, for sharing her painful story with him. His scientific side takes over again, and he begins to analyze her magic into components. She explains that although her fire breath is powerful, she cannot change the amount of energy it uses. She only decides where it appears and where it flies. He concluded that her 5 points in fire are exactly what makes her fireballs much larger compared to others. Then he asks if she can change its shape or compress it, thoughts that never occurred to her. They agree to postpone the experiment. No one can risk another huge explosion right now. She teases him, laughing, you're a real scientist. He asks another question. Has she always been this powerful? She shakes her head, her magic only grows stronger over time, even without practice. Hikaru finally puts it all together. When the soul rank rose, the points automatically went into her fire and magical power stats. She confirms that she never did anything special for this to happen. This phenomenon occurs when someone has an extraordinary natural talent. And Lovey jokingly asks the professor if he has figured it out yet. And he just smiles, the mystery only deepens. They laugh sincerely, and the burden of the past momentarily lifted. They walk home holding hands. Our hero silently promises to build a happy life for both of them. Then the story suddenly takes us to the small village of Manhwa, where workers are picking tomatoes. The local pastor warmly and gladly welcomes them, praising their famous sun-dried tomatoes. He warmly recalls a girl named Paula. She was skilled at expertly cleaning them. One of the workers apologizes for some reason. The pastor looks away into the distance with a sad smile and says that the boy did well. After a friend gently nudged him with his elbow for touching on a painful topic, the pastor clapped his hands and said that that's all for today. Suddenly, the earth began to tremble wildly. It's not an earthquake, but one of the men feels a deep, piercing horror. The sky above the mountains darkened and became threatening. It feels like something terrible is approaching. Returning to the city, our guy sells monster parts in the shop, specifically the innards of the red-horned rabbit. The seller was so delighted that he slapped Hikaru hard on the back he almost flew off. Then he starts running around the room like crazy, and our guy is completely confused. When the sun sets, he reviews the day's events in his head. He tested Levia's magic and caught a monster. Levia is safe in the hotel, but he knows well. He urgently needs to raise her rank to unlock the stealth skill. He returns to the noisy adventurers guild. Eyes immediately fixed on Freya and Gloria behind the counter. He approaches Gloria to get paid for the hunt. She hands him a heavy pouch, 9,000 gillins, and with a smile says that he will soon rise in rank. And instantly her smile faded. Her eyes became cold as steel. Where have you been the day before yesterday? The question hit him like a physical blow. Even before he could whisper a lie, Freya jumped up and cheerfully covered for him, assuring that he had been studying all day. He escaped a big trouble, but now he knows. Gloria suspects everything. Fry calls him to spend some time together until the guild closes. But Gloria is not finished yet. She leans closer, her voice quiet, and asks if there really is only a civil blessing on his card. She is probing for the truth and is already close to it. Our guy instantly waved it off, refused the offer to drink, and quickly left the place. On the street he meets Freya. She says that Lenken called her about Count Morgstad's case. The official story is pushed like this. Supposedly, the knight commander was just wounded by a young bandit, while completely hiding that he was utterly crushed by some boy. The soldier survived, but barely. They both agree. At first glance, these two events seem unrelated. And Hikaru understands. Her sharp questions are because Gloria already knew all this. The guild will not get involved in this matter. It is now a matter for the entire country. When they part ways, Freya points to her house, the same bakery they saw earlier. He told her that he had already tasted their bread and was delighted, and she blushed and immediately invited him to dinner. She instantly panics, shouts "forget it," and rushes down the street, leaving a very confused Hikaru behind. For now, he decides to stay in the shadows and fully focus on protecting Livia. The next day at the guild, 3 new adventurers argue heatedly, dreaming of forming their own team. But as 3 low-ranking women, it is hard for them to find anyone who would take them seriously. One of them notices our hero just at the moment when the door suddenly slammed open. The beaten and bloodied man stumbles inside and collapses on the floor. It is Pippin, a man from their village. He pushes away their anxiety. His voice is full of panic. Monsters pour out of the dungeon. With his last strength, he shouts, "Our village is in danger." Pippin, who was brought before Lunkin. They told the story about that huge earthquake that happened the day before. Behind them rushed a crowd of monsters from the dungeon of the Forest of Deception, driving a group of frightened adventurers straight into their village. Lankin asks a grim but inevitable question: what happened to those adventurers? His eyes darkened and the air seemed already dead. Pippin's silence is the only answer needed. A wave of shock and horror swept through the guild. Everything is very bad. The monsters were from the middle levels of the dungeon. Lankin explains, the Forest of Deception is an artificial dungeon created by the dungeon master. A labyrinth of roots and trees spread over 5 levels. Aurora flips through her notes. On the middle floors settled a disgusting pack of creatures, and sometimes even C-rank monsters like wyverns make their presence known. Although monster invasions happen rarely, they have occurred before. Dungeons are self-sufficient worlds where their master absorbs life and spawns even more monsters. Everything gets out of control, and Lunkin declares that they will decide the plan by tomorrow. The next day in the royal capital, Commander of the Knights, Lawrence has already returned to training. His wounds heal incredibly fast. He is visited by Princess Cujastoria, who dismisses her guards and without hesitation gives full trust to the kingdom's best swordsmen. She brings terrible news. Her father, the king, made a shocking decision regarding the overcrowded dungeon. He decided to abandon it. He is convinced, sooner or later, the monsters will simply cease to exist. When Lawrence points out that there is a village nearby, the princess confirms. The king has only one plan: evacuation. Lawrence's eyes narrowed. Something is very wrong here. The king refuses to send the army and forbids the strongest adventurers from intervening, all because of his desire to start a war with the neighboring empire. The princess is deeply troubled by her father's recent actions, from the obsession with Count Morgstad's daughter to the fact that now he has abandoned his people. They look at the capital and wonder, will this path really lead them to a bright future? In the guild, Lunkin slammed the royal decree on the table and, unable to contain his rage, cursed the pidgeted king. What should be done? He goes downstairs to Pippin and the others who are waiting, and brings devastating news: the army will not come. Even worse, the guild has no right to send anyone of rank C or higher. All they can offer is escort during the evacuation. Paya, one of the newcomers from Anilka, exploded. Are you going to abandon us? She shouts, her voice breaking with anger and despair. They cannot just leave their homes, their fields, everything they have worked for. She demands, why does the army not want to help? And when Lunkin cannot answer, she lunges at him and yells in his face, calling him a vile bastard. She firmly declares, if no one else does it, she will fight the monsters herself. Aurora tries to convince her. These are only G ranks, this is a mission to certain death. But Paya is determined. She will not go to the dungeon, she will stay to protect her home. She turns to her friends and they, without hesitation, agree to stand by her. When they try to leave, Aurora begs them to stop. But Gloria boasts. She tells Lankin to let them go, implying she is already one step ahead. She found a loophole and created special conquest and escort missions that lower-rank adventurers can take. There is little money, so only a few adventurers will be able to set out on the road. But she is already begging the royal capital for help. The official request has been published. Lunkin calls out, is there anyone from this guild who is ready to go? Meanwhile, in the guild of the royal capital, adventurers grumble. There are no quests about the Forest of Deception. At that moment, the door opens and the legendary company enters. They have returned. The 4 stars of the East. The entire guild buzzes with their presence. The receptionist briefly explained to them that behind the door a wave of monsters was already raging, and there was also a royal decree forbidding the dispatch of high-ranking fighters. There are no official requests, it seems their hands are tied. But their leader Solus just smiles, a challenge shines in her eyes, as if the kingdom does not want us to act, but I don't remember sending an order not to act a second time, right? A true wild woman. Lufal found. She turns to the team, shall we go? Their goal is as clear as day. The 4 eastern stars have moved. Our guy and Lavia quickly check the status, and the soul rank of my girl has wildly jumped from 6th to 8th. He already says so she will rise to the 11th rank by tomorrow, no problem. But instead of bringing loot to the guild, Lavia is fussing, gathering some very special herbs. They are not going to the Guild of Adventures. Onathi are walking down a dark corridor lit by torches, leading to a much more exclusive establishment. Inside, a guy with a sinister scar and a stay-away look slouched in the chair. This is Kelbeck, the head of the Thieves Guild, and he immediately asks without unnecessary words if there is any suspicious business here. Our chief, calm as a cucumber, says he heard. Black moon grass helps with kidney diseases. He learned this from a friend. And then he drops a bomb, voice quiet but firm. That friend is already dead. Kelbeck tries to troll him, saying he didn't think our lonely hero had any friends at all, but this guy just coldly shut him up. It's none of your business. Harsh. The mood changed. Kelbeck asks if the actor he borrowed really did his job. And we will find out what the task is. To help the daughter of a certain count disappear from the carriage without a trace. Kelbeck finds it strange how someone could simply vanish into thin air. Something clicked in the hero's head. He remembers how once someone slipped into the room completely unnoticed. Kelbeck leans forward with a sly smile, as if he caught the scent of intrigue. Could it be just a coincidence? This is the last straw. Our guy is just exploding, his face contorted into a mask of pure rage. What exactly are you trying to imply with this? He growls, and Kelbeck is so stunned he almost falls off his chair. The guild master instantly raises his hands and retreats like a madman. Hey, wait, it's a joke, just a joke. He apologizes sincerely and endlessly. And our hero, as always a pragmatist, calms down and says that a deal can still be made. Kelbeck only sighs, clearly thinking that this guy is much more trouble than he's worth. As a farewell, Kelbeck sells him several incredibly useful magical items. One breaks through walls, another combines fire and wind into a powerful explosion, and even a healing item that he got by bribing a priest in the temple. Our guy definitely knows this will come in handy. 2 days later, true chaos erupted in the Adventurers Guild. They had just announced the dungeon was overcrowded. And it turns out the hometown Poli is right in the danger zone. There is only one problem: this zone is now accessible only to adventurers of D rank and above. And our guy is still only G rank. But this guy did his homework. He says the kingdom seems to be abandoning the forest, even though it's literally a gold mine. He lays out his entire theory as if on the palm of his hand, an artificial dungeon that brings in a lot of profit. But the guild receptionist is already starting to sweat. He does not back down. Natural intelligence is much more valuable. Is the kingdom preparing something bigger? For example, a war. She cannot withstand the pressure and breaks down, but our guy lets her go, says he understands everything. He finds out that Pola and her friends have already set off to Manhwa, and thanks the confused receptionist. He goes outside and Lavia is already nearby. She was eavesdropping the whole time because she has a new skill to hide her perception. She explains that she raised her level and invested all her points in stealth and agility. And just then, with a confident smile, he drops a truth bomb. He can interfere with other people's soul boards. Levi was stunned. He realized that this power can only be used on a person he trusts with all his heart. He asks her what she thinks what they should do with this whole situation in the dungeon. I love you, and a dead silence follows. He says that allowing Pola to die will leave a bitter taste in his mouth, but Lavalakis clings to one word: dungeon. Her eyes lit up because the dungeon is her favorite. And then her brain suddenly jumps to the most obvious conclusion. Blushing madly, she asks if he likes Polar. Our guy was completely confused by this sudden turn. But Lavia is already in a full emotional whirl, convinced that she has fallen in love with another person. Seeing her suffering, he grabbed her by the shoulders, his voice firm and sincere. Don't worry, I love you. Meanwhile, 2 Vayur nuns watch from afar and clearly root for this couple. The next day, the guild is empty. The receptionist panics. Our hero has disappeared and is probably already heading to Manhwa. The friend quietly pulls her aside and spills hot, juicy gossip about what happened in the Royal Capitals Guild. The world, whatever the news is, it is big, and they know it will make some take action. Meanwhile, our hero and Lavia ride a horse through the rural expanses, trying to catch up with Pola's squad. But in the distance, they suddenly notice smoke billowing into the sky. The hut is engulfed in flames. Outside, a bunch of thugs stand guard. And our guy watches in horror as one of them kicks a hooded girl to the ground. Without hesitating for a second, he says to Livia, "Let's go." Inside the hell, Palia and her friends are suffocating from the smoke. They are trapped. They know fighting means condemning themselves to death. But one of them, Priscilla, comes up with a desperate plan to wait until the wall collapses, and then rush through. Then a calm voice cut through the roar of the fire. If we climb out through the east window, there will be no one there. It's our hero settled in the window frame as if it were no big deal. The whole group froze as if struck by thunder. Polya can hardly believe her eyes, Hikaru-sama. He urges them everything here is about to collapse any moment. They break out outside at the last moment, the roof is just collapsing. Incredibly close call. His plan is simple. Levia is hidden nearby and waiting for the moment to unleash magic, erase the hut, and so panic. But as always, our hot-headed comrade ruins everything, loudly shouting a challenge to the bandits. Our guy just sighs. He is completely fed up with all these foolish antics. Even before a fight could break out, the air was pierced by a scream that chilled the blood. As if out of nowhere, a knight appeared on a dazzling white horse, and one of the bandits was already lying on the ground. This newcomer is a true force. She surveys the situation with an icy gaze. I am from the land of the 4 eastern stars, she proclaims, raising her sword and pointing with it. By this I take you into custody. What an epic entrance. The robbers were tied up. Solus addressed the group. This fiery guy is practically beaming with gratitude, and she just laughs. But our main hero looks at her like a hawk, his eyes narrowed with suspicion. Pola simply calls him a passerby, and he agrees, pretending that he was just heading to Menalka. In his soul, he quietly sighed with relief. He didn't have to force Levi to open up. He puts everything together. The 4 Eastern Stars were probably supposed to be the original team for the Lovey transport, but instead they sent a weak S-class group. Something is clearly wrong here. He instantly pulls out Salyu's soulboard. Rank 41, she is on a completely different level. Her swordsmanship is level 5, just 1 point less than the holy sword itself. This woman is a true monster. So Luz sends his team to patrol the outskirts. And our guy realizes, if all 4 are this strong, then they are a huge threat. Salus noticed him and asked if he was going to Menalka on a whim. Are you confident in yourself or just an ignoramus? The air crackles with tension. The travelers invite him to stay with them. And Pola, blushing madly, offers her seat. He resists because he wants to set out alone. But they insist. Salus calls him stubborn and he responds with the most refined excuse imaginable. When I am surrounded by women, I get nervous. I am very shy. He walks away, leaving her with an interested look. Finally, the squad arrives at Menalkathi, are greeted as heroes. Solus delivers a fiery speech to the villagers. And we meet another member of her team, an influential priestess named Sophie. Polya is completely enchanted. She feels that these professionals are on a completely different level. It turned out that the village elder is Polya's father, and they met, crying with joy. He asks her to show Sophie around the town. Later that night, our guy and Lavia finally stayed alone, sitting by the fire under the starry sky. She asks him what he thinks about the 4 eastern stars. He admits that he cannot allow himself to relax around them, but enthusiastically notes Solus's elegance and skill. As soon as the name of another woman was mentioned, Lavia puffed her cheeks and made a huge offended grimace. This is pure and simple envy. She finally blurts it out, terribly embarrassed by her feelings. He just laughs. It seems so cute to him. Then he finally admits, the real reason he wanted to travel alone was to have more time just with her. He asks if she is disappointed by his pathetic jealousy, and she says on the contrary it made her happy. He smiles warmly. I am even happier that it is you. They share a quiet, tender moment together. The next morning, the travelers meet with the village head, but the whole town has gathered in the yard and demands to know the plan. Our hero and Lavia decide to do some reconnaissance, quietly slipping through the crowd to eavesdrop. Inside, the chief begs them to clear the dungeon. But Salus explains that it is simply impossible for 4 people. Their mission is to buy time for the evacuation. The elder refuses to leave his fields, their only wealth. And suddenly one of the adventurers, Sala, senses them. Someone is eavesdropping. She looks into the corridor and there is no one there. Because our guy and Lavia are stuck to the ceiling using their stealth skills, that was too close. He checks her stats. She has a ridiculous 5 points of instinct. And suddenly a voice sounded from the room opposite. Here she is, the quiet girl in the hood, Sirika. Salus opens the door. The room is empty, the window wide open. She guesses that the eavesdropper has fled. Outside, Sirika challenges our hero, are you satisfied? And Lavia simply sighed with relief. Good thing they weren't caught. But our hero's face is stern. He has figured something out. The girl in the hood is named Sirika Tanu. Lavia puts 2 and 2 together. Unusual name, black hair, could it be her? His eyes narrow and his facial expression becomes deadly serious. Aha. He opens her soul board and the last piece of the puzzle clicks into place. No doubt, he understands that she is from another world, and the weight of this moment crushes him just as it does me. Our guy and Levia silently argue in the silence, but the topic is hot. He asks if that new person is also from another world like him, and she confirms it. Her name is Sirika Tenu, another migrant from Japan. And here is the highlight. Her soulboard level is simply insane, 104. For comparison, experienced adventurers have 41, and clearly something is wrong with this number. Our hero is tormented, Does she know what happened to him? Maybe he should contact her. Lavia, as always the voice of reason, gently takes his hand and reminds him that taking unnecessary risks is a bad idea. After all, they are in this together. Her face softened, a light blush appeared on her cheeks, and she said, "I'm with you." After that, a determined look appears in our hero's eyes. He has a clear goal. The four Eastern Stars act cautiously. They are going to protect the village and evacuate the civilians. But our hero is not playing defense. Livia immediately catches his mood. He dropped a stunning piece of news. They will not just defend the village, they will defeat the dungeon master. This dungeon is located in the infamous Forest of Deception, a place literally teeming with monsters. Livia definitely knows what this madman is thinking. With the most casual, confident smile you have ever seen, this guy declared, "I'll storm in alone." Livia instantly flared up, grabbed him, and shouted that it was too dangerous. She begs him, "Take me with you." But he gently pushes her away and explains that her epic, large-scale attacks are the complete opposite of stealth, and this mission requires exactly that. He makes a deal: if there is even a 1 chance of failure, he will retreat. "I swear on my pinky." Her eyes fill with tears, her voice trembles as she tells him, "If you don't return, I will go after you myself." Pure, uncontrollable emotion overwhelms him, and he pulls her into a tight embrace, whispering into her hair, "Don't worry, I will definitely come back." The plan is agreed upon now. He needs to make sure Livia is safe. He finds Pola in the local church. Just at the moment when a group of adventurers rides into the town, he instantly catches Pola's gaze and puts a finger to her lips, silencing her before she can reveal his presence to the whole village. He introduces Livia, a member of his party. Then he proudly shows a huge bag of coins and offers to pay for food and shelter for a few days. Pola is completely confused and refuses to take the money. He has already saved her life twice. But our guy is so convincing, he insists that it's just a donation to the church. When everything is agreed, he leans closer and says he has one more small favor. He asks them to keep it a secret that Lavia is here because, well, she is afraid of men. Poor Lavia just give the signal and she immediately started crying. What an actress, and Paula completely believed her and swears to protect her. Lavia is in safe hands. Our hero is ready to move. But at that very moment, the scout rushes headlong back into the village. Scratch off those marks and you'll see what's going on here. Bad news, and horde is rushing straight at them, about 100 monsters. The newly arrived adventurers snorted disdainfully. They said it was an easy victory because half of the opponents are just small fry. These little pests are only dangerous when they gather in a swarm and attack you. But the scout is still alive. The rest of the horde are low-ranking scoundrels, smaller basilisks, a trant, and damn it, some lost man. Before anyone could panic, the leader of the new team with an eye patch punched his fist and declared that their Wildhorn squad would handle the big stuff. He completely takes the helm into his own hands and says that this is pawn territory and they are here on an official mission. He simply tells the local adventurers, "Sit down and let the pro handle this." The locals were boiling with rage, but the squad of wild trumpeters just walked by, not noticing them at all. The Levia squad decides, "We need to help." She briefly told Paul and Paya, "Go and calm the villagers." Meanwhile, the rest set off to join the fight. While they walk, Paya starts grumbling that men are terrible. Paul instantly jumps to defend our hero, but Paya disagrees. "What's so special about him when he's so skinny and long-legged?" she snorted. She increasingly suspects him and cannot understand how he was so strangely lucky to survive the goblin attack and the fire in the hut. She looks at his memories full of distrust. The archer has to physically push them in different directions, sharply reminding them that a monster army is approaching. Finally, they agreed to patrol the village and lead the residents to a safe place. Levia meanwhile boils with rage. She behaves so brazenly with you, growls, her face a mask of fury. Our hero simply calmly tells her to calm down and they set off towards the forest. The battle has already begun. The Wild Horn team tears through cannon fodder as if it were nothing at all. Their mage is raising a wall of fire to direct the enemies, and the leader laughs maniacally, how weak they are, perfect for quick earning. Standing in the tree crowns and observing, our guy admits that they have quite good coordination. But Lavia knows the real trial is about to begin. As if on command, a peasant shouted when a huge Trent burst out from among the trees, snatching some poor fellow and eating him right into the sky. But the leader of the Wild Horn does not flinch and mockingly says, "Trant is not what you should be afraid of." His mage releases a fierce fiery spear that in a blazing explosion completely destroys the giant tree monster. Adventurers burst out with joyful cries, confident that victory will be easy. A big mistake. While they celebrate, the real threat makes its move. A terrible, lost man appears out of nowhere, his claws just inches from the boy's neck. And just at the moment when the strike was about to hit, an arrow whistled past and saved the traveler's life. It was the girl archer. She settled on a tree branch and looks down from above with a sly smile. "All right if you want to look cool," she teases, "but if you keep going like this, you'll die, you know." Other adventurers burst into the fight and finish off the remaining monsters with swift strikes. The Wildhorn leader tries to save face, insisting that they are on a conquest campaign and did nothing wrong. But the archer says that the main target, the lost man, used camouflage and escaped after she shot. Mission failed, guys. And with that, the first wave is behind. Somewhere aside, two greedy adventurers rummage among the fallen monsters and pick up spirit stones. They are so focused on the loot that they don't notice another lost man quietly sneaking up from behind. One of them suddenly felt a chill like a sharp gust of wind, but when he turned around, nothing. Because our guy just quietly pulled this out, all thanks to his skill in acting unnoticed. Even in disguise, his absurdly high detection skills easily noticed it. He feels that the enemies are increasing. It's time to speed up. He disappears into the forest thickets. Deeper in the forest, he comes across an entrance. It should be night, but here the sky is eternally bright, as if it's a dungeon effect. A smile appeared on his face. Here it is, his first dungeon. The walls are strange, almost transparent. Probably that's why it's called the Forest of Deception. He walks along a path that opens into a long corridor and bursts right into a pack of smaller basilisks. Perfect test subjects, and he skillfully pulls out a throwing knife and throws it with precise accuracy, hitting right between the eyes, and it falls instantly. He himself cannot believe his own strength. Other bird lizards panic and rush away. He checks his skills and realizes that a fully upgraded assassination skill combined with the sniper skill makes any stealth attack an automatic critical hit. That's a broken combo. He wonders whether to try another weapon, but still decides to go deeper into the dungeon. Meanwhile, tension in the village is only growing. Another wave of monsters is approaching any moment now. Pola anxiously notices that the pauses between attacks are getting shorter and shorter. Pai is still confident that the Soyuz team will handle it, but Pola is more pragmatic. They can't stand guard forever. Paya gathered her courage and decided to talk to her father, the village chief, about evacuation. He stands together with the other village elders. She immediately suggests that they leave. Her father's response is cold. "Didn't you say yesterday that everything would be fine with Salusum?" he asks disdainfully. He calls the peasants a burden, and Paya explodes. Other adventurers lose hope. They are no longer able to fight in this endless battle, and no one else is rushing to help. The village head confirms there are no other adventurers, no military. These people are farmers who grow tomatoes, and their fields, cultivated by their grandfathers and grandmothers, are all they have. Retreating is not an option. Everyone knows if they stay, they will die. But if they flee, they will just waste all the money and still die. Pola's fist clenches in despair. She now understands. Silence is like telling them, "Die here." Paya boils with rage at her father for so recklessly slandering. Pola grabs her by the hand, trying to stop her. "Your father is suffering so much, you know," she shouts, and the raw emotion of the moment overwhelms her. Paya froze, stunned and completely speechless. Paula can no longer endure it. Tears flow down her face as she understands the impossible burden that lies on everyone's shoulders. He apologizes and Polar bolts. She collapses onto the bed and sobs. She was the one who came up with the idea for Paya to talk to the boss. "I am the worst," she cries, feeling completely helpless. Someone knocked on the door. It is her father, the pastor. He sees her tear-streaked face and understands. He sincerely admitted. He acted selfishly. He was born in this village and did not want to leave it. He suddenly notices that something has changed in her and asks if she has met someone special. Bala shudders, completely confused by. And suddenly the image of our hero flashes in her mind. Her father simply smiles, happy to see her finally coming out of her shell. He gently leads her to the dining room so the soup does not have time to cool. Meanwhile, in the traveler's tent, 4 eastern stars were tired. They had not slept all night. They talk about a huge, scorched area on the eastern side of the forest. There are no traces of monsters, only ash. The squad's fire mage categorically says he has nothing to do with this. Curiosity was overwhelming, so 2 of them set out to scout. These scorch marks are clearly the work of spirit magic, and what kind? Incredibly powerful, definitely not a single shot. Looking at the size of the ash piles, they guessed one of the creatures must have been a Trant. The power required for this indicates a D rank, or possibly even a B rank mage. The leader gently stroked her companion's head and smiled. That analysis amused her. Suddenly they realize a powerful ally is hiding in the village. Everything fits, otherwise the monsters would have already overrun this place. But still the question remains, why are they hiding? From a safe distance, Levia watches them. They understood. She suddenly realized that someone was covering the eastern and southern flanks. There were not enough people there. She presses her palm to her heart, her face showing a worried expression as she thinks about Hikaru. She holds his promise in her heart and prays that he is all right. Deep in the dungeon, our hero confidently moves forward. He comes across neatly maintained stairs leading deeper. He jokes that the dungeon is overly hospitable, but his sarcasm is instantly cut off when a massive shadow emerges from the darkness. The damn lesser wyvern, a C-rank monster, crashes into view with a roar. This thing is huge, Despite its name, this monster is by no means easy. Even 4 eastern stars would seriously sweat because of this. Wyvern struggles, its head spins unsteadily, as if it is completely confused. And our hero smiles slyly, everything falls right into his trap. As soon as the beast collapses, he jumps on its back and stabs the blade into its weak spot, a perfect silent kill. He feels a bit sorry when he realizes that his rank has not increased. He understood, the monsters in the dungeon are fake pseudo-creatures without souls, they have nothing to absorb. So here they do not give rank promotions for life and death battles. At least let valuable spirit stones and gems drop. Something still bothers him about this whole story. But before he can think about it, the entire dungeon begins to tremble fiercely. He tenses as a wave of pure power rushes toward him. What a horror has been unleashed, and it is rushing straight at Manhwa. He realizes that killing the dungeon master will no longer stop the monsters outside, so he needs to get out of here and fast. Returning to the village, Levia rests in bed. Suddenly a powerful shock shook the entire town. All the travelers, stumbling, got outside confused and terrified. Suddenly the noise tore Lavia from sleep. She sharply opens the door and her eyes widen from pure, sincere shock. An incredibly huge, terrible dragon appeared. Its colossal figure made the whole village tiny. More stairs, he grumbles, clearly already done with cardio for today. These are not just stairs, friend, this is the 5th floor, the root level, a completely black labyrinth known as the Forest of Deception. There is no light at all here, and our guy is making his way through this nightmare only with a magic lamp. Casting a quick glance at his stats, it is clear. He is running on empty, only 3 skill points left. Until now, he was a real nightmare, knocking down everyone in his path with one blow, from terrifying executioners to those damn small wyverns. But this is uncharted territory, and the feeling here is very suspicious. Time to act wisely, safety above all. He spends the remaining points maximizing life concealment and magic concealment. Dungeons are famous for silly puzzles that lock doors and treasure chests. But this floor is just a complete labyrinth. He figured that this was probably a good place, where adventurers could obtain valuable trophies from monsters. And suddenly a light appears in the distance. He enters a huge chamber, confused, is there even electricity on the 6th floor or what? The ceiling itself glows with a strange lace pattern exactly like on the very 1st floor. A tiny flame suddenly flared up near him. Don't worry about it, it chirps, our guy is just bewildered. Where did you come from? What a crazy and mysterious place. But the bewilderment instantly turns into icy horror, and his eyes widen as he notices something gigantic lying in the center of the room. It's a dragon. A giant scaly monster was sound asleep. Thoughts race through his head, could this be a dungeon master, a real dragon? But before he could even realize it, the reptile's slit eye suddenly opened wide. A roar that shakes the very foundations of the dungeon burst out, and it roared. Go-O is going there. A deafening wave of sound hits our hero, knocking the breath out of him. How did it sense him? His invisibility was at its maximum. Panic begins to overwhelm him. He clenches his fist, forcing himself to calm down, his heart chaotically pounding and hitting his ribs. He knows if he loses self-control, his stealth will shatter into pieces, and the dragon, feeling nothing, repeats its question, who is there? Here our guy realizes, this creature does not use magic, its instincts are simply incredibly sharp. So far the beast has lost the exact place where he was. He crouches and carefully examines the floor, and suddenly a faint flicker flashes in his eyes, either a skill or perhaps magic. He notices it, a huge, intricate network of threads that detect magic and cover the entire floor. This is a trap system straight from hell. If he steps on even one thread, the dragon will immediately find out where he is. And in this confined space, an attack with fire breath means he will be vaporized. He checks his skills. Will he manage to level up magical concealment to 5 and slip by unnoticed? No, wait, he has to think those threads might not detect magic at all. Maybe it's just a thing that reacts to weight, a thread trap that triggers from physical presence. Suddenly the scene changes, and we look from above down onto a rural square. Surrounded by a modest wooden fence. Chaos reigns. A terrible white dragon rages, and Salis and her squad boldly look it in the eyes. Down, she shouts. Just at that moment, the beast lets out a roar that tears the sky. The shockwave throws people into the air. Her companions press their hands to their ears and groan in pain. The ground is strewn with the wounded. It is a bloody massacre. An old warrior with an eye patch gathers the survivors and tells everyone still conscious, split up and lead the people out. But Salis stands firm, shield raised. We buy you time. The old man is stunned. You're not planning to run from this roar alone, are you? Then she fiercely looks at the beast. You understand human language, she growls, her voice dripping with contempt. Don't think only humans have intelligence. She calls him what he is, a monster from the dungeon, a mindless killer. And the dragon spoke in an ancient, mighty voice. Indeed, I am the white dragon. My brother is the black dragon and the strongest of the dragons. Then shaken, he fell to the floor. There is one more. The dragon mocks her. You won't attack, will you? The sword hanging at your belt is just for decoration. Soulless towers on her hilt. Nonsense, this blade has drunk the blood of many dragons. Then she shouts to her friends, Plan B. And then return to bolts. But this is a savage fainting. The dragon turns its head, and at that moment I freely turn around, hitting with a hard right hook straight to its jaw. The blow threw the massive creature backward, and it immediately made a clean cut across her face. The villagers could only stand and watch in awe. She holds her shining sword high. Its name was spoken White Radiant Blade. The crowd whispered this is the legendary weapon Salus, the Maiden of the Sun. They say that this sword, when filled with magic, cuts through everything that stands in its way. She finally decided to go all out. She inhales the fainting worked, but she knows that she will not win in a direct fight. Her plan is to buy time, extinguish the flame, and stay away. What's wrong, mockery? It seems you will try to spit it out again. The dragon is not moved at all, I see. Your main goal is to buy time. And then, in a fit of pure frenzied cruelty, he completely ignores her. Turning its head, it released a blazing beam that wiped the neighboring house off the face of the earth, burning the people inside. The man's scream suddenly stopped. Wake up, the dragon awakening laughs ominously, and Solus is left speechless. You are she sows. The dragon then delivered a terrifying monologue, and coldly explained that only foolish children kill for pleasure. But my purpose is to kill people, it says, and behind it appears the figure of its shadow master. Now that its master has broken the chains of the dungeon, it is free to fulfill its sole purpose. It again unleashes a wave of destruction. The village is burning, bodies scattered on the ground. Salus can only look at her face, a mask of pure, unrestrained fury. Her hand grips the sword so tightly that the knuckles have turned white. Forget about fighting at a distance, now only hand-to-hand combat remains. The dragon again turns its gaze to her. I will make it understand, she swears, her eyes blazing, that there are people here who could kill T. So you are leaving, the dragon mocks. So relaxed, you are eager to attack, then I accept the challenge. She ducks, dodging a fierce bite, dodges a tail strike that splits the earth, and slips under the giant body of the dragon. She held back his claws with a shield. She dances through his attacks like a ghost. And with a final desperate battle cry, she lowers the blade, cutting off the dragon's entire arm near the shoulder. The victory was short-lived. The attack exhausted almost all her magic, and she falls to one knee. The white beam blade is insanely powerful, but the stronger the target, the more magic it devours. She had already cut stone and metal, but this time she completely underestimated the hardness of his scales. The dragon, now missing one arm, looks at her with true hatred. I will not forgive you. She still did it, and now his attention is fully fixed on her. Her friends began to execute the real plan B, retreat. She just needs to buy them a little more time. Meanwhile, the evacuees watch from the hill. Paya finally finds her father, and he gently tells her that she is now safe. But Paya disagrees. She wants to see the dragon hunter up close, and calls her father a funny idiot for running away. She is a true Solo fan, convinced the leader of the 4 Eastern Stars that he can defeat the White Dragon. Her friend Sarah tries to persuade her, so confused, she decides to retreat. She decides that she will help in time as well. As if on cue, the situation became infinitely worse. A horde of monsters burst out of the forest. He does not believe in such a coincidence. Come on, she groans, but turns back to her friend. I'll buy time, everyone run. She shouts to everyone, hurry. But she looks back and sees her dad just sitting on the ground, completely broken. We are not running, he says calmly. Paya sharply says, you heard what Sarah said, right? But her father throws a cold, harsh truth in her face. Why do you think Solus's son is even fighting for us? If we leave this village, only death awaits us. The peasants decide Thea will die here. He says to Paya, run, save yourself. But his words ignite a fire in her. She clenches her fist. I will not abandon the one who risks their life for this village, she says. She yells at her father, at you're a coward, and at Idiot, and throws herself back into the fight. She went further, leaving her stunned father behind. Paula the nun looks after her and quietly says, she is probably crying. The boss remembers how Paya always did that after their quarrels. He is losing self-control. Tears flow down his face. He imploringly asks Paula to take Paya and run. He knows that their village, Manalka, will perish today. And he is terribly afraid that he will never be able to reconcile with his daughter. Paula kneels before the broken man. She reminds him of the words that Paya herself spoke that morning. If they leave their fields, they will still die. They are farmers who can only grow tomatoes. Their essence is intertwined with this land. But then she turns everything upside down. The place where we all live is Manalka itself. The villagers look confused. What do you mean? The chief asked. Manalka is Manalka only because Dewey lives here, she says. SH. She reminds them of their ancestors, who with their own bare hands carved this village out of the wild forest. The place where we are is always Manalka. With burning passion, she encourages them. If their fields have disappeared, they will create new ones, just as their ancestors did. I won't let you say it's impossible, she shouts. Even she, once a crybaby, can now stand against monsters. Her epic speech touched deeply. Her own father, a priest, slowly claps his hands, tears in his eyes. He was bursting with pride for the woman his little girl had become. The leader's rise resumed. If we are going to die anyway, then at least let's die properly. He looks at Paula, a smile on his face. Your words truly impressed me. He recalls his father's wisdom, a village is not a place, it is the people. He smiles, then let's do it. The chief has returned. Attention everyone, we the disciples of Manhwa are moving out, the village is setting off right now. They will survive. In the dungeon, our hero is still frozen in a tense standoff with the sleeping dragon. What should he do? Retreating is safer, but farming on the 5th floor is pointless. The question hung in the air, should I retreat? He again hears Laviai's words in his head, do not return until you are safe. Sorry, Laviai, he thinks, a determined gleam flashes in his eyes. I do not like the idea of running away without trying. He found a way, the skill of balance. The detection threads stretched only near the entrance, beyond them small gaps. All he needs is not to step on them. He tenses his muscles, jumps and dances through the deadly web like a professional athlete. He softly landed right near the dragon's head. So what now? How am I supposed to defeat it at all? He suddenly remembers. These pseudo-monsters here are created in the likeness of real creatures. He activates mana scanning and the internal structure of the dragon is revealed. He sees clusters of mana in its brain and heart. The heart is too deep, the head too high, but on the neck pulses a vital artery, a perfect weak spot. But here it is, he pushes off the wall. The dagger aims straight at the artery. But the dragon's eye suddenly opens wide, and the tail strike throws him from the air. He crashed into the ground with full force. What have you done? The dragon roars. A sound wave tears through his eardrums, and he feels a huge surge of magic growing. A hail of gunfire covers the hall. The dragon surveys the hell. I feel your presence, but where are you hiding? Through the smoke emerges our guy, scorched but alive. His back goes numb, but nothing is broken, and most importantly, he felt his kick break through the scales. He found a loophole. But why didn't his assassin skill work? He puts it all together. There must be a tiny pause between when the pain hits, the brain processes the attack, and his invisibility disappears. He just needs to finish it in that brief moment. His eyes narrowed, it's time for a new weapon. He sharply pulls out a knife and draws a sinister dagger, ready for the second round. The new prototype is ready, and our guy Hikaru is already here to pick it up. The elven blacksmith hands over a strange sword and says it can only be used once. With a sly wink, he tells our guy to test it on something much bigger than himself. And what do you think? The universe did not fail. Our unsuspecting character looks up and sees the perfect target for testing, a colossal dragon calmly resting in the field. The dragon White seems irritated. Oh, just when he's not around, some annoying guy appeared and grumbles to himself. This guy is confused. White, another one. He feels another terrible presence nearby and realizes, this is a real disaster, more than one dragon, now it's officially chaos. A dragon flying so close to civilization should have been noticed long ago, so something suspicious is going on here. He immediately shouts, Lavi. No time to hide. If this thing releases even one attack, the nearest village will be wiped off the face of the earth along with everyone in it. Our hero instantly rushed into action, activating the magic detection skill. The target is clear, the dragon's heart, no games. He's going to kill it with one strike. But the dragon is completely confused. Our guy gathers strength. A ball of energy sparkles in his hands. What are you? You are a scoundrel, mistakes. But it is already too late. The weapon comes to life, the blade bursts out like a rocket and sinks deep into the dragon's neck. Another moment and the real magic begins. Blade bombs, murmurs our hero. This weapon is a crazy masterpiece. The blade shoots out, sticks in the target, and bam, explodes from the inside after a second. A direct hit to the heart. After such ruthless precision, survival is impossible. The colossal monster thudded to the ground, and our hero, completely exhausted, slumped, leaning against its body. Honestly, I'm tired, he sighed. But there is no time to rest. In the dust, he notices a black sphere shining. A precious stone. Picking it up, he wondered in surprise. He remembers how the dragon mentioned some master, and this can mean only one thing. Somewhere another boss is lurking. He rushed to the dungeon entrance, praying to all the gods he could remember, just hoping it would be something smaller than the black dragon. The scene shifts to a village soaked by rain and completely engulfed in chaos. Cowardly adventurers argue heatedly, ready to abandon the villagers and save themselves. But their leader with the eye patch, Salis, will not tolerate this. Where to go? She shouts, pointing to the roar of battle. There a woman is fighting a dragon, let's go. Cowards freeze, whining that they will only get in the way. And when they see what is happening, their blood runs cold. They have appeared a whole flock of smaller wyverns. Everything is over, whines one of them. So Luz tries to lift their spirits, emphasizing that the real threat is those three. But a tiny figure in a hood steps forward. Who are you? Her demands fade into the air. The girl ignores them. Here is Lavia, and she is now about to show her power. Spirits, respond to my call. She begins, and her voice thunders with might. I desire everything, all things, all living beings, and the hellfire that erases even the laws of nature. The travelers look completely stunned. And suddenly an absurdly magical circle explodes beneath her feet. She closes her eyes and channels a furious stream of power through her self-dance. Spirits, feed on my magic and sing, burn everything to ashes. She casts her spell, flame is her gospel. From the magic circle bursts a wave of pure black flame, devouring an entire flock of wyverns. They don't even manage to scream instantly evaporate, leaving behind only scorched earth. The travelers were speechless, their jaws simply dropped to the floor. Lavia just shook herself off and casually said, "Phew, I'll leave the rest of the small fry to you." They froze, staring at the burning forest, completely bewildered. In a moment, one of them nudged and it wobbled. "Hey, can't we go now?" That shook her. "Hooray," she roared and led the assault against the remaining monsters. Meanwhile, another battle is raging. Sulu's team is facing the dread dragon, a huge white monster. The beast let out a deafening roar, but the team holds firm, protecting each other. They did manage to lead the wounded townsfolk out, but the fight reached a deadlock. So Luz strikes a strong blow, but the wound on the dragon's leg heals almost instantly. She grits her teeth, knowing that all that remains is to endure. She has a plan. She glances back and sees that Sister Paula managed to lead the villagers to safety. The first stage done. Her plan is simple: hold the line until sunset. A monster of this level cannot be ignored by the kingdom, so they can retreat and send in higher-level adventurers, but the dragon suddenly stops paying attention to her. It suddenly sees someone is hiding in the rubble. "Wait, Europe minutes me," Salute shouts, but the dragon ignores her and rushes forward. The situation has completely gone awry. It is Paya, Paula's friend, standing defiantly with her sword at the ready. "Why?" Paula asks, overwhelmed with horror. "I told you, I said I would protect you," Paya shouts back. She bravely lunges at the dragon. But it is a hopeless fight. Several arrows simply bounce off its thick scales, causing no harm. The dragon did not even flinch. Another adventurer screamed in terror. Paya swings her sword with all her might, but the dragon only snorted disdainfully, as if saying, "Get out of the way," and with a light flick of its tail pierced her right in the chest. Her sword clanged against the ground, and her body was thrown aside. It is a cruel, terrible sight, and Paula just stands and watches in horror. The rest of the team tries to fight back. Arrows and spells fly in response. But the dragon was not moved at all. It let out such an earth-shaking roar that the ground trembled, and a shockwave rolled across the entire battlefield. It knocked everyone off their feet. The blast shattered the archer's bow to pieces. And so Luz faints. The dragon turned its gaze to the fallen archer Serica, and anger burned in its eyes. It opens its huge jaws, preparing to release a stream of flame. The dragon unleashes a dark burst of energy. But at the last moment, one booted soldier rushed at Serica and pulled her to safety, shouting, "Pull yourself together." Paula rushed to Paya, but in vain. "The wound is too severe." It's okay," Paula cries, trying to use her healing magic. But Paya quickly fades. "Paula, run," she whispers. Paula begins to pray, offering her body as a sacrifice for a miracle. But her magic suffocates and fades. Her hands are covered with dark miasma. "It shouldn't be like this. It can't be true." Paya keeps telling her, "Run, it was always like that." A flash of memory shows that Paya always threw herself under the blow, protecting Paula again and again. That is why today is no different. The whole burden weighs on Paula and she begins to sob. "You are my best friend," she thinks. Well, of course, it's obvious. The dragon loomed over them, but Polly was indifferent. She clings to Paya's body, and her grief bursts out in a heart-wrenching scream. The dragon is preparing to deliver the final blow. The cold eye does not avert its gaze from its victims. But just as it was about to strike, a solitary figure appeared in the distance. This is Lavia, her face a mask of cold fury. To restore the pure skies and earth, she chants the spell, "Burn everything to ashes." But suddenly the one who was already written off so relaxed and sluggish comes back to life. She clung to the dragon's leg and only laughs weakly. The dragon looks down, puzzled. "Did you really think your roar could defeat me?" She laughed mockingly. "As if I would let you escape." She pours the last drop of her magical power into the sword, and the blade flares with a bright, blinding light. "I will put everything I have into this," she screams, plunging the blade deep into the dragon's leg. The dragon howls in pain, but Salis has already done her part. She falls, thereby buying the time they needed. "Flame gospel," Lavia shouts again. And another epic wave of black flame crashes down on the monster. The force of the explosion throws everyone into the air. The explosion is huge, shaking the very foundations of the village. As a result, 2 adventurers lie unconscious. Paula raises her eyes upward, hoping, praying that this is the end. But when the smoke clears, a pit of horror forms in her stomach. From the crater, a giant claw slowly emerges. The dragon is still alive. It tears out a bold, unholy roar from itself. Hovering over Lavia, wounded but still ready to fight on. "It can't be," Paula whispered. Her hopes were shattered. She begins to pray again, calling upon the spirits. Lavia does not retreat, stands her ground, and is ready for another fight, even as the beast prepares to attack again. And then Paula's prayers turn into desperate screams. "Oh God, please save us and save those who fight for our village." The dragon lunges, and Lavia realizes she won't make it in time. "Oh God," Paula screams piercingly. And suddenly, everything freezes. The dragon hangs half a step away. Paula lifts her head and is frozen with amazement. Between them and the dragon stands a figure. "I guess I barely made it," says a familiar voice. Paula is in complete shock. "This is our guy Hikaru-sama, why is he here?" she stammers. He explains that he saw a devastated village and immediately understood. Something terribly went wrong. He has already slain the black dragon, but he ran out of blade bombs. He was late, but now he is here. He sees Livia holding back a cloud of dust. He looks at the white dragon at its cracked and damaged scales. If now I can cut it, he thinks. This is it, all he needs is a weapon. He notices Solus's sword lying on the ground. A magical thread bursts from his palm and instantly grabs the hilt. He rushed forward like a blurred silhouette. The dragon turns to him, but too slowly. With one fierce stroke, our hero severs the monster's head. He exhales, a smile on his face. "I don't know whose sword this is, but it saved me." He looks at the others. Everyone is bustling, tending to the wounded. And then his gaze fell on something strange in the dust. It is a large shining egg. He reaches out his hand to touch it. But Lavia's voice cut through the air. "Hikaru, maybe it's better not to pick it up." He raises his eyes and turns to her, puzzled. She explains that his sudden appearance and this overwhelming deadly tension scared her to death. He apologizes and she only sighs. Suddenly she notices his ear is bleeding from the dragon's roar, and immediately offers to heal the ear. He leans closer and whispers, "And the dungeon." He tells her that for now it's over, although not quite perfectly. At that moment Paula approaches them. "Hikaru-sama and Peya," she asks, her voice trembling. His gaze fell on a heartbreaking scene. Paula was holding her dying friend. Paula's face crumpled in pain. "She protected me, and because of that ended up in this state. Now she is sobbing. I cannot heal hers." The weight of her own helplessness crushes her. "I was only a burden both for Peya and for you, Hikaru-sama." Our guy knows. He can change this. His secret ability, which he hides from the whole world, can strengthen Paula and make the impossible possible. But showing this power is a huge risk. Only trouble will grow from it. He clenches his torn fist, but then looks at Paula's despair. And he has already decided. "If I leave her here," he thinks, "I will regret it all my life." He looks her straight in the eyes and asks the most important question. "Do you want to heal her?" Paula and Lavia froze, looking at him, stunned and speechless. Paula is the first to find her voice. "Of course I do," she exclaims. "Peya is my childhood friend and at the same time my best friend. She is selfish and reckless, and yet it is impossible to hate her." The face of our main hero became deadly serious. "If she could be healed, would you bet your life on it?" He clarifies, "I don't mean that you will die, but instead you will live your whole life carrying a secret that you will never be able to tell anyone." He leans closer. "You have to agree to every condition I set, and yet does that suit you?" Without hesitation for a moment, Paula's determination hardens. "If this saves Peya, I will give my life without hesitation." A barely noticeable smile plays on his lips. He raises his hand. "Now close your eyes." She does as he says, hands folded in prayer. "Next time you open them," he promises, "your world will be different." Paula closes her eyes. In prayer, asking for guidance, her soul board appears. This guy knows what's what. For an ordinary mage healer, the second level of restorative magic is normal, and the fourth is what you find in a professional clinic. So our hero does the craziest thing and doubles it. He raises her healing magic to the absurd 8th level and throws the rest of the points into mana. Levia is puzzled, but our hero has already decided. He recalls Paula's pure despair and her willingness to do anything for her friends and says to Levia, "I trust her." This is the same risk he took for Lavio when she was labeled a killer, and the same faith she placed in him. It's a two-way street. He leans closer, quietly explains his logic. A silent moment of trust passes between them. Faith in others saved him, and now he passes it on. Having made the decision, he touched the panel and the epic stat boost activated. Blinding light envelops Paula as the power sharply pierces her. "How is this?" he asks. She feels that where there was once only a puddle, now there is an ocean of mana. He tells her to pour every last drop into her restorative magic. The tension is palpable. "Hurry," he says, "this could get serious." She pulls herself together and returns to the fallen comrade. "Open your eyes, please," she whispers. She begins the prayer, places her hands on Paya's chest, and channels divine energy through them. But this is not just another villain, it's a real tsunami of power. So to keep this whole operation in the shadows, our guy activates his dark ability. Mass suppression, a skill that hides stunning magical traces from prying eyes. He places his hand on her back, quietly signaling, "I will cover you." A blinding flash burst from Paula's hands, and Paya's body was flooded with holy light. Our hero knows for sure that 8th level restoration magic is more than enough to fix almost anything. But using such power at once has its price. Paul hits her in the teeth. The backlash of the mana surge strikes her like a truck, but she doesn't stop. A terrible, wide-open wound on Paya's chest begins to sew itself. Flesh knits together, skin smooths out until not even a scar remains. It worked. Relief instantly appeared on Paula's face. "Ah, her body, it healed," she whispered, catching her breath. The emotional dam broke, and she simply collapsed forward, sobbing his name in gratitude and clutching him as if for a lifeline. The poor girl is so confused that she doesn't even notice. She warmly thanks him and accidentally kicks him with her foot. He finally calms her down and extracts a promise, never to tell anyone about this wild power. As soon as he caught his breath a little, Lavia bursts in and insists on treating his fresh bruises. Fala, completely out of mana, protests, but Lavia does not back down. Warm light enveloped him, and the pain disappeared. The power of the spirit user is truly incredible. Finally, seeing that he had recovered, Paula barely uttered a sincere thank you, and her eyes flickered with fatigue. In a moment, she completely passed out, sleeping soundly on the ground next to Paya, who is now safe. Lavia runs up and checks, "Are you okay?" He says yes, but admits it was a risk. He just had to believe. She quietly nods to him with respect. "I will respect your choice, Hikaru." Just when it seems everything has calmed down, our hero drops another bomb. It turns out there is another problem here. Lavia instantly connected the dots. If he is here, it means he defeated the dungeon lord. She even remembers that there was a white dragon here. He clarified, he defeated the black dragon with similar stats. That's why Paula needed intense healing, but that was not the main event. He pulls out a huge gemstone, and that's when the real problems began. Livia takes the jewel, her eyes widen. Her expression instantly changes. Instead of curiosity, an icy rage flared up. Hikaru. She stands right in front of him, face to face, reminding him of the promise, to fight the dungeon master only if he is 100% sure he will win. He starts to sweat and tries to wriggle out with an explanation about his loophole, but the black dragon was not the dungeon master, so He couldn't hold back. He had to try to take it down. "You idiot," she says, her voice trembling. "I was scared too." The rage melts away and is replaced by pure, sincere fear for him. He hugged her to himself, apologizing for making her go through this hell. After a moment, he steps back and admits, he was lucky his weapon did most of the work. More importantly, he says, and his face grows serious, the real problem starts after this. He tells her that they need someone endowed with holy powers. Meanwhile, other adventurers gathered near the entrance to the dungeon. The air was stagnant. The usual presence of monsters seemed to have disappeared. The dungeon was dead. They realized the dungeon master had to be defeated. A rare phenomenon, but not impossible. Who did this? No one knows, but they do not complain either. For the surviving peasants, this news was the best they could hope for. The village is a complete ruin, but the elder points out, the most important things have survived. Their fields, the source of their livelihood, were almost untouched. Fields are more important than houses, he says wisely, and people are more important than fields. They still mourn those they lost, victims of a powerful enemy who appeared completely unexpectedly. The elder approached the adventurers and admitted that they came to help without any invitation from the guild. He hands them the white dragon's core as payment. And Livia, speaking on behalf of the shadow patron, tells them that they hesitate because of that mysterious mage who actually did it. The leader of the Eastern Four Stars, Solus, devises a clever plan. They will accept the reward on behalf of the brave squad that fought the dragon. They will sell it, keep half for themselves, and give the other half to help rebuild the village. The elder is stunned by their generosity. He gratefully accepts and promises, this money will go to families who have lost everything. Having a ready plan, the adventurers eagerly decide what to do next. Then they will sit here for a few more days, finish off all those left, and then head back to the capital. Well then, for now it's time to rest. But as the fire crackles, Solus cannot shake a strange feeling. The mysterious girl, the young traveler who was with her, where have they gone? It feels like something here is just not right. Things never turn out the way you expect. Our dear guy leads Livia along a dark forest path. Is this a shorter way? She asked nervously. And now they descend a hidden ladder deep into the bowels of the earth. Livia complained that her hands were already getting tired during the long descent. And finally they reach a tunnel that goes downward. They emerge into a huge underground cave, and Livia stands stunned. She is completely speechless. Gigantic pillars of light illuminate the space, so vast that it seems like a completely different world. Her eyes darted around, surveying the stunning expanse of this place. The realization hits her like a ton of bricks. You really tore this down on your own. He gestured for her to follow him. He leads her into a small, unremarkable room on the side, and her jaw drops again. In the corner, a pitiful, trembling creature huddled, the dungeon master. Our hero explains that when he found that creature, it was so frightened that it immediately lunged at him, and he had no choice but to end it. But the real problem lies ahead, he says, turning back to the massive sealed doors. He pushes and it opens. Stairs appeared, descending into complete, suffocating darkness. Lavia froze, but he reached out and took her hand like a silent promise of support. He squeezes her hand reassuringly, and together they descend into the abyss. From the pitch darkness thundered voices, saturated with ancient power. You returned to Earth earlier than I expected. Levia is gripped by horror and our main hero is strangely calm. This is exactly where we are going. And he raises a glowing orb, showing where the voice is coming from. This is the true master of this dungeon, a creature that plunged the so-called dungeon master into utter terror. A colossal fire dragon chained. They stand before the monster, only two tiny figures against an unimaginable force.